Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I want to tell you all about my show, the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we do a thorough analysis on the biggest issues and trends within the pro wrestling industry. We talk a lot about pro wrestling media, we talk a lot about fan culture and wrestling's place within general pop culture, and we talk about the broader influences that are shaping the way we discuss and analyze the pro wrestling industry. We've had some of the brightest minds in the pro wrestling intelligentsia on the show, including WrestleNomics host Brandon Thurston, both Rich Craich and Joe Lanza from the Flagship Wrestling Podcast, Trevor Dame from the Through the Years podcast, and a whole lot more. This isn't a show for hot takes. It's not a show recapping the latest episode of television. This is a show focusing on the biggest topics in pro wrestling and doing a deep dive on the real stories behind the surface level analysis you might find elsewhere. The Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a try. Thanks.
Hello there, everybody. It's me, Garrett Kidney, the co-host of You've Got to Be Kidding Me on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
And I am Liam Jones, my full name, and I'm also a part of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network as a co-host for You've Got to Be Kidding Me.
We are a TNA history podcast that covers TNA 1 month at a time. We cover all the drama, all the matches, all the Vince Russo nonsense you could ever want in your life.
Have you heard of TNA? I bet you have, but would it be funnier if two people made jokes over it the whole time? Probably.
So if that sounds like fun to you, check it out on this very Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network, and Liam will do bits and whatnot.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Mickey, Pishy, Pishy!
What do you guys want to talk about?
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
If this story was any good, maybe you people would understand it! You don't even understand the story! It goes over everybody's head! How great can it be? Maybe they need to talk more during these matches.
And Rich Craich.
This is my entire life's goal, is to be a WWE superstar, and now I am the NXT Women's Champion.
You can take that. If you want that, great. Good for you. I want him to have to talk about getting roadhead. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want out of my wrestling. Call me old-fashioned, Joe. And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
I would assume that those Impact Wrestling and New Japan on Access numbers are going to go way up this week now that we're not going head-to-head.
It's going to help them a lot.
Those two shows.
Yeah, it's going to help them a lot. Even if we had to do it on a Wednesday, which if we had to adjust this week, Dynamite now has a very good chance to get to 1 million viewers this week. So congratulations to them ahead of time.
The problem is when we go on Wednesday, Tony Khan DMs us and is like, "Bro, what are you doing?"
Yeah, he's kind of. I mean, I get it. He's upset. He's upset, and recent ratings do reflect that. I don't have the chart in front of me, but I think anytime a Flagship is on a Wednesday, you could definitely see a precipitous fall for Dynamite. So it's created a lot of tension. It's created a lot of tension, a lot of uneasy feelings between the two of us. So that's good, or the three of us, I should say. So
you got that right. But and then and then now tonight we get to damage the NXT brand.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Is it their spring break-in show? Is it spring break-in this week, or is it spring break-in next week? I love how they have this spring break theme show weeks after everyone is done with spring break. Everybody is done with spring break. Nobody is still spring breaking at this point.
Spring break is ages ago. Spring break.
Who is still on spring break? Joe, are your children done with their spring break?
No, you know the easiest way if you don't have kids in school, or if you're not in school yourself, the easiest way to tell when spring break is the first week of the NCAA tournament. They do it then because, well, there's no class, so all these guys can go play in this fucking tournament. That was like a month ago, more than a month ago. How long ago was that?
Quite a while ago. I mean, it was March Madness, and it's April 11th, so I'll tell you that. It's been a while.
Spring breaking with the apostrophe on the end.
Right, spring break. Hip, it's cool. Have you seen the logo? It's really cool. Let me tell you.
Oh, so cool.
It's radical, man. Yeah. It is so tubular. Let me tell you that.
You're right. Very 80s inspired. It's rad. Oh shit! Is Rad short for radical? Did we just put that together here?
Who's we? You got a mouse in your pocket? No, of course it is. Yeah.
I just figured that out.
Congratulations!
Right here tonight
Welcome.
on the flagship. So expect a bad number for NXT Spring Breaking. MLW in the mud. Sorry, Undergrounds.
Oh,
but,
no.
Tonight you suffer.
Is this it for them, or they're? No, they're back. They're back, right? I was going to say this is it. Their 10th and final episode, but they're back on the schedule, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
We are told that I believe the latest is that they are airing through May.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
A stay of execution.
Do they have content? Them what? Do they have content to go through May or no?
What's that? 6 or 7 more shows, I guess. Through May?
Yeah, this week. Yeah, around there. Yeah.
And then I guess we'll find out. Let's play it by ear. And of course, Rich, NWA Power also should take a big hit tonight, going head to head with the powerhouse that is the flagship. I know we're doing the NWA later, but we have to address this. So tonight's NWA Power. Now they did the tapings on Saturday.
Saturday, correct.
They did an afternoon session and a night session, correct?
2 p.m., 5 p.m., somewhere around that range. Both of them sold out, by the way, or well, I guess we could touch on it later. Sold out as far as you cannot buy tickets. Whether that means they sold every ticket in the building, that's a different definition, but they were effectively sold. If I wanted to buy tickets to go to the Saturday 2 p.m., I could not do that. That was out. That was out of the question. Could not do that. So yes, it was something like 2 p.m. or 5 p.m. It's just somewhere around there. But yes, on Saturday they did 2 different taping sessions to get them through this run of Power.
Inexplicably sold out. Now, despite the fact that they did a doubleheader taping session on Saturday, tonight's Power is 3 matches from the pay-per-view on Friday. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, Rich.
Perfect. Oh my God, exactly. Because I'm thinking what you're thinking, and the listeners, none of our listeners are actually following the NWA anymore. We're the only ones doing it. But I'm getting what you're putting down here is that there was an issue with the pay-per-view on Friday where several matches, 3 to be exact.
In fact,
is it 1, 2, 3? Okay, all right. So 3 matches did not air properly for those that put down the $40 on voicesofwrestling.com/fight to watch NWA 312. And you're telling me they're airing 3 shows or 3 matches from the pay-per-view on today's NWA Power show. That's just good business. Good on Billy Corgan, right. William Patrick Corgan. Great on the NWA. That's just smart. 3 matches people can't see. Go see it for free on Power because of the issue. Love it. Great.
Yeah, we're at a little make good.
Yeah, that's good. That's how you do good business. That's how you sell out a Friday night pay-per-view and 2 tapings the day after from Highland Park Studio Events 1 LLC or whatever it was called. That's how you do it.
So at Billy said, you know what? Because you didn't get to see it on Friday night, I'm giving you Bully Ray, Tom Latimer. I'm giving you La Rebellion versus Dak Draper and Mims for the tag team, for the World Tag Team Championship. And you know what? I'm going to give you Camille Brick. I don't think they call her that. Camille versus La Rosa Negra for the NWA World Women's title, because you, the loyal paying customer, did not get to see those matches due to transmission issues on Friday. Rich, if you thought that, though.
Yeah, I do.
Well,
I don't know why you're. Well, I don't know why you're prefacing that way. That's how it is. You said there was 3 matches that didn't air, and now there's 3 matches on Power for free right now.
Well, that's because you're wrong, Rich Craich. Those aren't the 3 matches from the pay-per-view that are airing for free on Power tonight. Okay, If you turn on NWA Power tonight, I don't know why you would going head to head with the flagship. But if you did do that,
if you have a second, if you're dual monitoring, maybe you know what I mean. That
potentially
makes sense.
Yeah, maybe watching later. Here's what you will be getting. Kratos versus Yabo the Clown. You will be getting a battle royal, and you will be getting.
I can't believe they're going to show that to more people. No, nobody else needs to see that battle royal ever. We saw it. That's good. Nobody else. But okay, so we're showing the battle royal. JR Kratos versus Yabo the Clown, which was fun. I'll say that. I enjoyed that match. But go on. Surely one of those 3 matches that didn't air is showing up on Power, right?
Well, those were no. Those are both pay-per-view matches that aired in full on Friday night.
There's still one more match that you haven't announced yet, and surely that's one of the few that did not appear.
Right, maybe the standout of those three.
Right, Camille. I think a lot of people wanted to see the Camille match. We've talked about it at length in last week's preview. You know, she's one of the best women's wrestlers going right now. A bona fide star in that company. Held the title for many. Hell, it's a year plus at this point. So yeah, it makes all the sense in the world that they would show that match. So that's good. Again, good business. Great business out of William Patrick Corbin. Let me tell you.
You want to tell people, look, this is the kind of action you're going to miss out on if you don't plunk down your $27.99. Okay, this is the kind of action right here you're going to miss out on. But no, you'd be wrong. It still isn't any of those three matches. The third match they're airing tonight is actually from the pre-show.
Oh, that aired for free on YouTube?
That already aired for free on YouTube and aired on the same YouTube channel that it will be airing on tonight. And that would be Gags the Gimp versus Sal the Pal in a hair versus mask strap match. The second hair versus mask match that these two men have had. And yes, Rich, the second of which, where neither man lost a mask or their hair.
No, come on. We're still kicking the can down the road on the hair versus mask?
When you have a feud,
I get it. When it's lighting the territory up like this, you can't, I get it.
Okay. And you've got Gags the Gimp and Sal the Pal tearing up the territory like this. You got to milk this for all it's worth, so...
got to hit all the towns.
One of those,
they're going to Winston-Salem in June or whatever for the Crockett Cup. Obviously, that's a crowd that's been dying to get the big blow off here.
I'm wearing my Crockett Cup 2022 T-shirt right now as we speak.
Yes,
I am wearing it.
Did they ever get your size, or did they just send you a shirt and hope that it's the right size?
No, I requested a size and I got the proper size.
Okay,
it's great.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if they just sent you a random size and said, "All right, here, pal, there you go."
Kyle Durden / Kyle Davis was right on top of that, and he sent this out to me, and I'm wearing it right now. And if we were one of those dopey video podcasts, why do I need to see people's faces when they're doing a podcast?
I don't get it. I don't get it.
But
and for people that are going to think about asking, never. I never.
The answer's never.
Ever on the flagship will you ever get that? Ever.
Right. No, that's never going to happen. You're lucky I'm wearing anything, let alone a T-shirt.
Right.
So
I'm like scratching my balls right now and picking my nose and petting my dogs. Yeah, you don't want any part of this. You don't want to see this.
So spoiler alert: nobody loses a mask or their hair again.
No.
In the strap match.
Nevertheless.
Yeah, no payoff again, and they're giving it to you again on for free on YouTube. What a perplexing little company this is.
It's why we must study it. People will say, "Oh, why do you guys talk about the NWA still?" What? Well, first off, if we didn't, literally nobody else would. Okay.
And second of all, where else are you going to watch Gags the Gimp?
Right. We must study this. We must study this. It again, like and we all jokes aside about the sellouts, like it wasn't a full building. I'll say, but they would not allow you to purchase tickets anymore. So for whatever that is worth. There are people that watch the show.
Alluding to this, like why wasn't?
Well, there were reports. There were reports from numerous people that were at the building that there was like a lot of empty seats, that there was a lot of empty rows. Like it felt like they probably could have fit more people in there if they wanted to, and that there were a few sections or something that were pretty empty. And I don't know. Again, that could possibly be people that bought tickets that didn't show up, or people that bought tickets that just couldn't make it, or whatever. I don't know what that is, but I did know a few people were like, well, how sold out were these shows truly? But they didn't. That'd be truly awful business if you don't sell as many tickets as you possibly can sell and don't allow people to purchase tickets. Like, I don't know why you would do that if you're the NWA. As weird as that company is, like you're still going to take people's $20 if they want to give it to you.
Hold on a second. You're telling me I have to think that those tickets were bought, because why would you intentionally? Now, look, I have proof they could have sold more tickets because you would have went. The reason you didn't go is because you thought it was sold out.
Right. Well, I tried to buy tickets and it said sold out. So I could not buy tickets.
So then you were like, all right, well, I guess I'm not going. Right. And I'm sure you weren't the only person in that position. There weren't many more.
There were probably some other people for sure.
But, okay, if you're going to just say it's a sellout so you can puff your chest, why not just keep the tickets on sale anyway? Like, what's the difference if you're lying? Right? Like, would Billy Corgan be the first wrestling promoter to lie about a sellout if
No.
that were the case?
No, certainly not.
So it's like,
He'd be one of the first to turn away people's money, though. That's where it comes.
That's why I can't buy it.
Right.
I can't buy it. I have to think. I cannot accept that those tickets weren't purchased for those empty seats. I know it sounds silly that people just wouldn't show up after they spent $20 or whatever it was, but it makes less sense that Billy would intentionally not sell the seats just so Rich Craich would try to buy a ticket and then come on his podcast and say, oh shit, they're sold out all 3 nights. Like what's more valuable, that or actually the actual value of money for selling the seats?
It's but I mean it is, to be fair, and I guess people always think of the weirdest possible scenarios of the NWA because they are the weirdest possible company. But again, like if we didn't do this and if we didn't study this company, nobody else would, and it would be lost to time. These shows would be existing in a vacuum, and you people wouldn't know about it. You wouldn't know about the 26-man battle royal, not 25, not 20, 26-man battle royal, right?
That's right.
Where else are you going to get that? Who else is talking about the Bob Luce Memorial 26-man battle royal this week on their show? They're reviewing Raw for the 3rd time. They're talking about SmackDown.
Right.
They'll review Dynamite. Maybe they'll touch on Ring of Honor a little bit. They'll review Spring Break-In of NXT or whatever.
And they'll probably make sponsor money. But the point here is...
But
we will cover it all.
We're going to give it all. 26-man battle royal. You don't want us to talk about a 26-man battle royal? I mean, I don't want to live in that world where we can't talk about a 26-man battle royal.
And that's what we call in the biz, Rich, a teaser, because we'll be getting to that in the 3rd hour. You're definitely going to want to stick around.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
For more NWA talk in the
you got EC3. You got there's a lot to dig into with NWA 312 in the 3rd hour of this show. But we're gonna get to a lot this week. Obviously, it is a Tuesday flagship, a very rare Tuesday flagship, because I am taking one of my patented vacations on Thursday. I'll be departing for Utah, so I will be out of here at Thursday afternoon or so. So not going to be able to do the flagship that week. Joe, I don't know what you got a plan for next week yet, or you'll play it by ear, as the kids say.
Jeez, you put me on the spot here. Jeez, I don't know. I have no clue. It's like almost 2 weeks away. I have no idea.
It's certainly, well, I guess it's. I was gonna say it's not 2 weeks away, but I mean it is a week and 2 days. So okay, I got you.
I don't know. Maybe I'll come to work. Maybe I won't. How about that?
You got to blackmail.
How's that answer?
Yeah, well, not bad. I mean, as long as you just try to get some more money out of these people while I'm gone. You know what I mean? Try to figure out a way to.
Rich, the on-air light is on. There's a hot mic.
The red light is on. Ooh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah. Flagship Patreon.com. Patreon.com/Voice of Wrestling.
My God. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I always do. Multiple times a year. So what are you doing in Utah? Are you visiting some Mormons? Are you going to the Great Salt Lake?
I will not be going to the Great Salt Lake. No, I will be in the other part of the state. I'll be in Southwest Utah. I'm flying into your favorite town, Las Vegas, and then immediately getting the fuck out of Las Vegas and driving to Utah from there. So then,
who needs all the fun and chicanery of Las Vegas?
Yeah, when you can
deserts,
canyons,
when you can drive to Southwest Utah. That's what you got. That's the move. You fly into Rob McCarran Airport and
Harry S. Reid Airport. Is it S? I don't know if it's S. It's Harry something Reid. Harry S. Reid, I believe, is what is M. Reid. Harry M. Reid Airport. So
I understand that our good friend Rob McCarran has been canceled, but to me, it'll always be Rob McCarran Airport. Why did they change the name? Did whoever that guy is, did he really get canceled? Is that what happened?
I'm not sure. We talked about this, I think, the last time I flew into Las Vegas, and I went to Death Valley instead of staying in Las Vegas. I don't know. I believe Pat McCarran got into some problems along the way. Yeah, I think he had. I think he didn't love all people the same as he loved some people, type of stuff. So yeah, didn't go well for him.
Right. So now it's Harry Reid Airport.
Yeah. I hope they did a lot of work on Harry Reid to make sure You know.
So is this a death to the former Shake Them Ropes host Rob McCarran jokes every time we talk about Las Vegas? Is that it? Is it over?
No, because you've done it a few times since it's been renamed, so nothing should stop you at this point. But we don't have a good. I guess you can go Robin Reed International Airport. Robin Reed, obviously, helping out with the Wrestling 101 project on voiceswrestling.com. So you could just move the joke if you want to. Yeah. You can still do it. It's essentially the same joke.
The pointer is you're driving, you're flying into Las Vegas, leaving the fun and chicanery of Las Vegas behind to go to Southwest Utah.
Yes.
Where I'm sure you will get into the same levels of fun and chicanery as you would have in Las Vegas, either over in Old Vegas, Rich, as they call it, on Fremont Street, or
we are staying there. We are staying in Old Las Vegas on the way back. We are staying at Old Las Vegas.
So you are going to Vegas
for one day, for one night, and that's already more than I need, but one night at least.
One night. What is your opposition to adult chicanery in Las Vegas?
Loud, annoying people. I got no need for it. I got no time for it.
All right. So what do you have time for?
To be fair, I do like the old. Of the two, I do like Old Vegas a little bit more. I have stayed in both parts. I've tried to like the strip, the modern strip as much as I possibly can, and I just fucking cannot stand it. So, gonna try the Old Vegas again. I haven't been there in quite a number of years, so I'll give it a try again and see.
I've been to Las Vegas multiple times where I didn't gamble a dime. You don't have to gamble, Rich. There's plenty to do.
I'm not trying to gamble. No, I'm not. I trust me. I'm not. You know me. I don't gamble at all. It's just I don't know. Yeah, the Vegas. I got no time.
Go to a show. Listen. Go see Carrot Top.
What?
He's phenomenal.
I'm gonna leave Zion National Park to go to see fucking Carrot Top. Are you kidding?
Yes.
No. No.
He's fantastic. The Carrot Top. Go to Absinthe. That's a phenomenal show. It's in a literal tent in between Bellagio and Caesars. Fantastic
sounds
show.
Awesome.
You'll love it.
Sounds great.
It is. It's great.
I could see the majestic hoodoos of Bryce Canyon National Park, but I'm going to go see fucking Carrot Top instead. So, okay. All right.
Well, I gave you another option. You don't like Carrot Top? I gave you another show you can go to.
It's what you gave me, a tent. I got to go to a fucking tent?
That's a great show. Check the reviews. It's fantastic.
I don't have time for shows.
Plenty to do. You know, just splurge a little. Get $1,000 suite and just bang the hell out of that nurse all night long. Like, you know, you can't do that at home. Well, you could do that, but you can't do it with $1,000 suite.
With the dog. It becomes stuff with the dogs and stuff. Yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah, there you go. See? Get a little room service.
Yeah, they're banging at the door and stuff. Yeah, it makes it a little tough. So.
Couple of steaks, maybe some lobster tails, you know? Get yourself a couple rhino pills on the way over, and away you go.
No, I could just do that in any other. I don't have to pay $1,000 at a Vegas suite to do that, do I?
All right. Well, what's going on in Southwest Utah?
Sights and sounds, hoodoos, Bryce Canyon,
I don't know what any of these words mean.
The majestic canyons of Zion National Park.
Canyons.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be outside sweating.
Yes. Not really. The temperature is not that warm there right now.
Will you be spelunking?
No, as much as I would love to. We did look at a particular cave that you could spelunk in. They're too much rain right now. So
will you have the little helmet with the headlight on the front?
No, unfortunately, I will not. Yeah, I do. Well, actually, now that you mentioned, I do have to pack that. I do have that for when we start our hikes, Joe, in the early morning before the sun rises. You do need the headlamp, as the kids call it. It won't be a hard hat with the light, but it will just be a light that I put on my head. So
I was right. You're gonna have the little construction hat with the.
No. You said the whole hat. I'm not gonna have the whole hat. I'll have the light. I will not have the. I will not have the hard hat though with it.
So this is essentially the same as spelunking. You're going inside of a canyon.
I think spelunking has a different. Are you aware of what spelunking is, or no? Or do you just like the word?
Yeah, you go in a cave.
Yeah, well, a cave and a canyon are very different. Would you agree?
I mean, yeah, they're different, I guess.
No, I'm not going into a cave. I'm going into a canyon. I don't know that I'm too into caves. Caves kind of, I don't know if I trust caves. Canyons are pretty good. They've been hollowed out for years. You're pretty good. Caves? I don't know about caves.
Well, good luck with
Too many movies. Too many bad movies. Seen some bad movies where people get stuck in those and stuff, so I'm good.
All right.
Good in the spelunking. But yeah, I'll be enjoying the great outdoors of Southwest Utah. So some part of Central, I'll be up to Central Utah too, but I will not be seeing Karl Malone or John Stockton or Greg Ostertag or any of the fine folks of the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City.
They got a bus or something that brings you to this thing, or you got to like hike?
No, you just hike.
Oh, for God's sake.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's a shuttle that gets you to like the beginning of the hikes, but then you got to hike the rest of the way.
Why don't they just bring you all the way? Like, here you are. Now you're at the canyon. Now get out.
Look around, take your pictures, get back.
Yeah, your little headlight fucking headband and fucking, do what you got to do. Hop back in the fucking 4x4 and get out of there, right? Like, why? Like, they're making you walk. Like, why can't they just take you the whole way? There's no road to this canyon?
Sort of. You're kind of in the canyon when you're in the... This is hard to explain. Just look up Zion National Park on your own. I'm not going to... You're technically in the canyon. You're going to get around that, I'm sure, so you can play. Hey, Fred, come here.
Yeah, maybe
look at the beauty. Look at the...
Yeah.
Look at the view from Sunrise Point in Bryce Canyon. Unbelievable.
No, she would hate that too. You know what her first question would be? She would say, well, do they drive you there? Or like, how do you get to the camp? Like, she would ask the same question. And then I'd be like, no, we got to hike. And she'd be like, oh, forget it. Yeah, we're not going there. No shot, So no, that wouldn't be a very good idea. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, do your thing, man. Do your thing. Thanks for putting me on the spot for next week's show.
No problem. Yeah, absolutely.
That was no problem there. And I guess I'll, figure something out while you're spelunking in a canyon in Southwest Utah next week.
Well, I do. So, for the record, I am bringing the laptop and I am bringing the microphone because every time I go, something happens to Vince McMahon. So keep an eye out for Vince. I'll tell you that. Anytime I leave the state, something happens. So I got the laptop. I got the microphone. So if worse comes to worse, and then in the midst of my spelunking in a canyon, which I don't know if you can do, I think you can only spelunk in a canyon. In the midst of that, I will stop and I will record a podcast for you if something, of course, happens. But we'll see.
Aren't you going to be in the middle of nowhere? This doesn't sound like a place.
Sorta. Yeah. No, we're staying in hotel. There's some. We're not in the middle of nowhere. Not quite as bad. When we were in Death Valley, I was in the middle of nowhere. I was really. I could not have done a podcast from where we were in Death Valley. I'll be in relative. I won't be in full obscurity where I'm at. And
listen,
they have the internet. They have the internet in Southwest Utah. Trust me.
You'll have the internet. Okay. One time, can you go to a standard destination vacation spot? One time.
Where do you want to go? Florida? Like, where do you want me to go?
Can you? I don't know, like Acapulco or something, or maybe like.
What's the approved list? What's the approved list of places I can go that are standard vacation places?
I just named two. Okay, you can go to Acapulco, right? That's like they'd give that away on game shows all the time when I was a kid. Like the trip
right.
to
Well,
Acapulco,
I don't think they give it away anymore. But anyway,
they don't go to Acapulco
anymore. I don't
anymore.
think they do anymore now.
How about Gay Paris? You ever been to Paris?
No, I've never been to Paris.
You have to agree that's a very.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm all right.
You don't want to go to, Paris?
I'm all right.
How about Hawaii? People enjoy Hawaii.
We tried to go to Hawaii. We did try to go to Hawaii. We had a whole trip planned to Hawaii, but we had to cancel it for various reasons. So
you had to cancel the trip to Hawaii?
It was in the midst of it. We tried to do it in 2021 when COVID was still kind of a thing, and especially in Hawaii, it was kind of very much a thing. And the week or two before we were going to go, I want to say the governor of Hawaii was like, hey, we love that people come and visit, but like you're taking up all of our hospitals. So can you not come to Hawaii? So we felt bad. Her as a nurse, obviously dealing with COVID people. So we were like, you know what? Maybe let's just not go to Hawaii. So we went to Portland. Does Portland count? That's a normal place.
Who vacations to Portland?
Well, we do. Well, we did all the national parks around there and spent a couple days in lovely Portland.
What the hell are you doing? Are you going to an Antifa rally or something? What are you doing in Portland?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't sound like a hot vacation spot. Honestly, though, I can't think of any other hot vacation spots. I'm racking my brain.
I was going to say, Mr. Vacation Boy over there, where would you go?
Like, where do people go?
I don't know. You tell me.
Where people go, Rich? You know where they go?
Florida.
They go to Vegas.
Okay.
They go to Vegas, but then they don't drive to Southwest Utah when they get to
They don't
Vegas.
go to Death Valley. They don't check into the Harry Reid Airport, go right to Enterprise and get the fuck out of there as quick as possible, drive 3 hours immediately after their flight to get out of it? No? Okay.
How about the Poconos? Why don't you go to the Poconos?
I don't think anybody goes to the Poconos anymore, do they?
I don't know. You're asking me. I don't go anywhere. People don't go to the Poconos anymore?
No, I don't think so.
All right. See, then I really don't know. How about Cape Cod?
Cape Cod. Cape Cod. Yeah, I don't go to really the East Coast. I guess at one of these points I need to go to the East Coast.
So that's like how about Nantucket? That's another one, right? Go to Nantucket, right?
Like how your resort towns are just exclusively like 1973, like as you're thumbing through the pages of like Sports Illustrated. It's like, come to the Poconos. Like,
I'm on a roll now. How about Myrtle Beach?
I've been to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, there you go. See,
I used to go to South Carolina all the time. I have been there.
How about South Padre Island? Now I'm just naming like spring break spots.
Now you're just going WCW spring break. I've never been to South Padre Island. No. Ricky Rackman and I never. No, I never went and saw Ricky Rackman in World Championship Wrestling at South Padre Island, or Club Lavella in wherever the hell that was. So,
well, you enjoy the outdoors, so. Wouldn't a popular spot be the Grand Canyon? Wouldn't that be?
Yeah, we thought about doing the Grand Canyon at this one, but that's like that's too basic of a one. You know what I mean? Because you named it, that lets me know that it's not a cool place to go. You know, it's like where you would go if you're like, we got to go see the great outdoors. Let's go to the Grand Canyon. You know what I mean? That no Grand Canyon for me. Too far out of the way.
How about you go to?
Well, yeah. Wait, hold on. Wait. So I'm going to like very very nice places with canyons, and you're telling me. I need to go to the Grand Canyon, another national park.
That's inarguably the top canyon, right? You got
Yellowstone Canyon might have some. I don't know. The Yellowstone Canyon might have.
It's either the Grand Canyon or Christie Canyon. There's only two choices here. Okay, those are the two top canyons, and I won't accept any other argument.
People feverishly googling that right now. Maybe not on the work computer. But.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm. Oh, how about beautiful Atlantic City?
Oh, Atlantic City. Never had the chance to go to Atlantic City, but is GCW running there this weekend? Because I can cancel, just go there instead. So,
yeah, all the way they run Showboat all the way to the end of the boardwalk.
Yeah, I've done a Google Maps of it and been like, oh, all right.
Just keep walking as far as you can go on the boardwalk until you get to Showboat, and if Game Changer's running, keep walking. Just walk right into the ocean and just keep going. And you'll be better off than watching the show, more than likely. I'm out of vacation spots. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say Mount Rushmore, which fucking stinks. I've been to Mount Rushmore. Don't go. The worst.
How about some skiing in Lake Tahoe?
Oh, we're gonna be not far from Lake Tahoe. I'm not a skier though. Would you respect me more if I said I was going skiing? I think you'd make fun of me more if I said I was going on a skiing trip.
I'd probably make fun of you more.
Yeah, right. Like the idea. Like, what would you rather have me do? Go like hike in a canyon and do all that sort of stuff, or Joe, I'm going to Vail to ski for the week. So can you handle the flagship? Like you'd rail me over.
Vail.
Like you would destroy me if I said I was doing that.
You know what I would do? That'd be like where I'd go, except I wouldn't ski. I would just go to Vail. Like that'd be my vacation.
Just chilling, like the chilling in the.
Rich, you'd be
like the resort next to the fire. And just sit there with
You'd be like, Joe, where you going? I'm like, we're going to Vail. And you'd be like, oh, you're skiing? No, I'm not skiing. I'm just going to Vail. That'd be like one of my trips. All right, I guess I'm out of spots. Oslo, Norway. Is there anything to do there?
Well, hold on a minute. Maybe.
I'm holding on.
Maybe in September.
You're really going to Norway?
Yeah, very possible.
Oh my God! You already went to Iceland.
Yeah, right. Why not? Why not go to Norway at this point?
Like it's basically the same shit, right? Like Iceland and Norway.
Yeah,
like
similar.
I
think they're different in some ways. Well, one is literally just made out of like volcanic ash, and the other one is Norway. So I think they're a little bit different.
All right. How about Bermuda? You ever been to Bermuda?
Bahamas? No. No,
nothing. There's a dangerous triangle down there.
So I've heard. Tell me more. Really?
Yeah. You want to be careful in that little triangle there. Many people have disappeared. Yeah. All right. Well, Southwest Utah it is. I mean, I tried to offer some alternatives here, but it sounds like you're dead set on Southwest.
Well, no,
Utah,
I am now. I'm officially. I'm very dead set. I'm leaving in 2 days. So yeah, I'm pretty dead set on it. So
You know what Southwest Utah sounds like? The 7th place team in the WAC that wins the tournament and in shocking fashion, and then goes to March Madness.
So I think there is a Southwest Utah University.
Southwest Utah State. You know, that's what it sounds like.
I think weren't they in there? There was I want to say Southern
Valley.
Utah. Wasn't there Southern Utah?
So there's a Southern Utah.
I think they were in the tournament this year, if I remember correctly.
So, well, that's not Southwest Utah.
No. South. I don't know how far away it is or whatever. Notable alumni of Southern Utah University. Harry Reid, the guy named after the airport guy in Nevada. There we go. Full circle.
We have come full circle.
Yeah.
You could go to beautiful Puerto Rico.
Oh,
and maybe
Lonnie
you can
Main. Lonnie Main is also a professional wrestler, Lonnie Main.
That's right. Moondog. Yeah, that's right.
Moondog Main, NWA United States Heavyweight Champion. Not still. He was at one point. He is no longer the champion, for the record. He died in 1978. He died in 1978, so he has not been the champion for a while. So
I think a car accident, and because he looked 53, he was probably 29. Probably one of those kind of guys.
Oh
right?
my God, you are not going to believe how old this man was.
It's probably. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my God! So people look up Lonnie Main wrestler when you're done looking up the porn star or whatever that Joe just mentioned earlier. Look up Lonnie Main the wrestler and Moondog Main, and I don't think I am positive you will not get within 15 years of how old he is.
No, I'm telling you, he's one of those guys you thought was 53, and he was actually 29, right?
Yeah, he was 33 when he died.
Yeah,
he looks. If you said 62, I would say, yeah, all right. If you said anywhere from this man is 41 to 62, I would say, yeah, that sounds about right. That
looks like he lived 3 times the life.
Very old 33-year-old. Good God. But you are correct. Lonnie Main did die, unfortunately, from a car accident. So,
yeah. You want to do a Lonnie Main obit impromptu right here on the flagship?
Sure. I don't know anything. I don't know if I know much about Lonnie Main, but do you
go through his career?
Sure.
Well, next week when you're gone, I'm going to open up with 90 minutes on Lonnie Main.
Hell yeah.
How about that?
Hell yeah. I'll clip it for YouTube. That'll get us the views. So Lonnie Main. So there you go. That's Southern Utah. But yeah. So I'll be gone next week. So probably no live flagship because you don't know how to do the live shows. But that's okay. You'll get a flagship some way. You'll get other audio. I did like people in our Discord being like, well, what happens if like this happens and that happens? It's like Joe still has access to a microphone. Like he's still gonna be able to do content as he normally does every single week. So it's okay, you know. And again, if Vince McMahon dies, I got the laptop, so we'll make it work. We'll figure out a way.
What am I, chopped liver?
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable out here.
You did that Vince McMahon audio from the business center of a hotel.
I tried to get to the business center, but it was open air, so I didn't want people to hear me, so I went to the workout room. Yeah.
Oh God, I would never want people to hear me talking about wrestling.
I thought about that because my mom I was with my parents, and they're like, "We'll just go to the business center," and I was like, "I can't." I mean. It's like right next to the lobby too. It's like the lobby, and then right next to it was like an open air business center. Like I can't do the show from there. Like I'm sure the audio probably would have sounded a little bit better. I probably would have had a better internet connection or whatever. I was like, I can't. There's people checking in. I'm gonna be like, yeah. So then he fucking. What about Mel Phillips, motherfucker? You know what I mean? Like that. Like these people are checking in. Like what is going on here? Like I'm sure I'd been kicked out immediately. Like there's no way we would. Especially that show, as passionate as we got about Vince McMahon's retirement and shame. That was definitely.
Rich in the business center as people are checking in, going, Mel Phillips was really into kids' feet. That's
right. Yeah, and he fired him. Then he hired him back and said, "Don't rape kids." That's all he told him. Don't rape kids. Unbelievable.
He said, "Stop touching kids' feet." Yeah. Tugging collars.
Yeah, thank God that didn't happen. But we'll figure it out. But again, special Tuesday flagship here. We are going to get to a lot of different topics, mostly in the world of Japanese wrestling, though. We are going to do NWA 312, but that, again, is an hour 3 teaser, so you're going to have to wait all the way to the third hour to hear all about the 26-man Battle Royal and Kerry Morton versus Joe Alonzo and all the other great highlights of NWA 312. But otherwise, we're going to do mostly Japan here. We're going to talk about All Japan Pro Wrestling's Champion Carnival, which is now a few nights in. We'll go over the blocks, who's defeated who's kind of gotten out to early leads, matches that we've enjoyed so far that we've seen, as well as some pretty not great attendance numbers that I wanted to touch on a bit as I was watching these shows. But then a lot of New Japan. We're obviously going to review the Sakura Genesis show that just happened a couple days ago, including SANADA winning the IWGP World Heavyweight title. So we'll touch on that big moment. But they got a lot of upcoming stuff too. They got Capital Collision, Collision in Philadelphia, 2 shows in the U.S. Coming up this weekend. We also have the entire cards for the Wrestling Dontaku tour, including some highlighted matches, some title matches throughout the tour, all culminating May 3rd with the Wrestling Dontaku show, as well as a little bit on the Best of the Super Juniors, which is going to kick off in May as well. We don't have a full lineup of rosters just yet, but at least some insights about that tour as we quickly approach that. But let's get right to Sakura Genesis here, which was a pretty big show, a pretty good show, I thought, a really fun New Japan show, but obviously the highlight, and we'll get right to it, with the main event, SANADA defeating Okada to become the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. We talked about how it felt like he kind of had to do this because he reinvents himself. He joins this new unit with the Just 5 guys, and he wins the New Japan Cup. And if he does all that and just eats a Rainmaker, like what becomes of SANADA? What becomes of Just 5 guys? Well, we don't have to worry about that because SANADA got the victory, 26 minutes, 58 seconds, defeated Okada, and became the new champion. So first off, what do you think of the match, and what do you think of the moment of SANADA winning the title, and what are your thoughts on him upsetting and taking the title away from Okada and unfortunately ending a pretty fun reign for Okada, but I think an interesting beginning for SANADA here.
Yeah, I mean, we told people don't be surprised at all if he wins the match. I thought there was a real chance he could win the match, and he did. And obviously, this was a long-term play. I mean, you could probably go back and listen to Flag. When did he show up? Wasn't he he cost Okada the title when he lost to Naito the first time in what was that, 2014?
Yeah,
maybe
2016.
Far back to 2014.
I want to say 2016.
16.
Yeah, 2016. Okay. I want to say April 2016. Invasion Attack 2016. So he's almost the Sakura Genesis is essentially the new Invasion Attack. So yeah, on this very show, in 2016 is when he debuts.
7 years ago. Yeah. So you could probably go back to shows that are 6-7 years old and hear us saying how, look, they've got designs on eventually pushing this guy big. And I remember saying at the time that, this is going to be a lot like, Kota Ibushi or Shibata, where it might feel like it's taking forever to get around to giving him the big push. And I think at the time I earmarked 2019. I was like, it won't come any sooner than like 2019 because of the speed that they do things, but it's coming. He's going to get a big push. And 2019, I think, was the year where they really gave him all. Was that the year they gave him all those matches against Okada?
Yes. Yeah.
So, and he had the big G1 run in 2019, I think. So I was kind of right. But then it's another 4 years until he actually they go all the way with it and he wins the title. But look, him turning on LIJ and then becoming the leader of his own unit, this is one of those things where this isn't something that they decided on, 5 months ago. This was obviously in the cards for a very long time, planned out well in advance. Again, going back years, maybe not playing out exactly the way it played out, but the framework of we're going to build this guy up slowly as part of this unit, and then eventually he's going to go out on his own and be his own unit leader and be one of the lead guys in this company was something that they absolutely were planning on for many years, probably when they first brought him into the company, because he's everything they look for. He's got those matinee idol looks that I always talk about that they really love. And by the way,
especially
you
now,
give this guy,
a dapper. Oh man, I'm getting hot and bothered just looking at him. Yeah.
You give this guy a shave and a decent haircut and some decent gear and all, he went from a fucking 6 to a 10. I mean, we knew he was good looking, but he was looking haggard and awful. Do you think that was part of the idea that when he was in LIJ, and he always came across like kind of depressed? Like, do you think it was the idea?
Yeah, I don't think they wanted him to be a heartthrob in that sense, and they knew they had to kind of make him look a little weird and make him not a heartthrob because he's a very attractive man for the record. I mean,
new man.
Yeah,
right?
Right.
He looks like a world champion now. He absolutely looks like a world champion. But the problem with SANADA, and look, it was no accident he had that long. He's had a 4-year rivalry with Okada. I mean, this is all part of the plan. So a lot of people I think this week told on themselves for really and exposed themselves as not really paying that close attention to New Japan. If this came off as a major shock to you, if you thought this was a shocking title win, you haven't really been paying close attention to New Japan then. And maybe that is the case for a lot of people who are like, wait, what the fuck happened last night? SANADA won the world title? Well, yeah, I mean, it's not that shocking at all.
It's called a push. It's called a fucking push. The guy's
either from a long-term or short-term perspective, it wasn't shocking. Like, we knew eventually this was what they were hoping would be the end game for him. And short-term, we saw this coming with like you're saying, with the push that he was just given. But the one thing with SANADA, the one problem that persists and remains is I am not convinced he has the necessary charisma to be a top guy. I'm not convinced of that. I'm not predicting that he's going to bomb as a top guy. I'm not predicting that this title reign is going to bomb. I do think this will be a short title reign. That sort of seems to be the Gato playbook, right? Establish somebody at that level, then they lose the title quickly, and then whatever story he wants to tell with them, he tells with them. We've seen, many people win this title the first time and then lose it back quickly. But now what that does is it tells us, okay, this is a top guy. So I think that's what this is. I'd be very surprised if he holds the title through the spring and summer, through G1. He absolutely will not have it in the Tokyo Dome. I mean, forget it.
Right. I would bet my house that this man is not walking into January 4th and as the champion. I would bet my house on that.
I don't even think he's going to get to G1. And if he does get to G1, he's not getting past, whatever it is, whether the Destruction or whatever it is after G1, whatever the big King of Pro Wrestling, whatever comes after G1.
I was going to say King of Pro Wrestling.
So I think it'll be short, and I still question whether he has the necessary charisma. Now, the improved look is absolutely a positive. Here's where you kind of think maybe the company agrees with me to some extent. Taka Michinoku's his mouthpiece.
Right, he's got a mouthpiece and he's got a unit, and I think he's got a unit that's not just like a, hey, here are my hanger-ons or whatever. It's like those guys surround him, and like you said, Taka does the talking for him.
Yeah, and I think that tells you that they're not confident SANADA can carry it on the mic.
Right, and attaching Taichi to him, too, I think is a very similar thing in that sense. That Taichi has an insane crowd connection and has always been able to kind of has that charisma that attaches to the crowd. So now you have Taka, who's one of the best mouthpieces in the company. You have Taichi, who's obviously a jump off the page, charisma guy for that company, too. So all those guys kind of surrounding him is like you said, it seems like they're really stacking the deck, in his favor in a lot of ways, probably because they're not quite sure either that he could do it on his own, or not necessarily on his own, but like do it as the clear and decisive number one in the unit. Like he's the number one, but those guys are also, big parts of the unit.
He's got a lot of support.
Right.
He's got a lot of support. He's got a mouthpiece, and he's got Taichi, who, you could argue should be heading up his own unit, right? So he's got a lot of support, and we'll see how it goes. I think that just five guys were very much over in Cork and Hall in the lead up to this show. Now, this is where I might differ with some people, because I watched this match and I thought it was a good match. I didn't think it was a great match. Most people think it was a great match. Did you think it was a good match or a great match?
I would say great. I'd probably go more towards great. I think I'm like four stars flat on it, which is good. So, that's a great match, but it's or a good match, but it wasn't. No, I did not think it was great.
So you're closer to me.
Yeah,
you're closer to me, because I had it like 3 3/4. I don't know. To me, the match was dull as dirt until this was the classic match that's boring until the final 90 seconds. The match did nothing for me. It was well worked. This wasn't sloppy SANADA, but this match was a struggle for me. I mean, I just thought it was a boring match until a well worked but boring match with and I will say this, a very exciting closing stretch. Very exciting.
Oh yeah. No, the close was great. If not for that close, man, I don't know. Yeah, but the close was great, and I think the crowd was all in on SANADA in the close, and I know the commentary did a fantastic job of telling it, and I think Okada and SANADA did a great job at the close. But I have no doubt that SANADA and Okada can have great closing stretches. I have no doubt that Okada can have a great closing stretch with anybody. I think him and I could have a great closing stretch to a match or whatever. But I kind of left that match similar to you, like, all right, all the parts are in place for SANADA to deliver here and to be good, but I still don't know if the bell to bell is good enough. I just don't know if he's gonna get me on that level or take me on that ride like some of these other guys do. Because I've never. There's been times, but it's so inconsistent. It just never feels like this is a guy that's like, yeah, this is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and this guy definitely belongs near the top of the company. Like, I don't know, like he belongs because he's there right now, and they obviously are pushing him. But yeah, the work standard, it's high. It's very high in this company, and I don't know that he can reach those lofty levels.
Yeah, he has good matches. And every now and then he'll have. I don't know if he's ever had a truly great match. He has good matches. He has very good matches. But then sometimes you get sloppy SANADA where he's just a fucking mess. And that happens far too often. And, and this, and not just with the quality of the match, but here's where I'm going to differ with some people too, because I didn't think the crowd was that hot for him. I mean, I thought that they were hot in the closing stretch of the match. During the match itself, during his introduction, and during the post match, it didn't come across to me like these fans in Sumo Hall here were super excited to see this hot new world champion. That didn't come across to me like that. And I had some people say, well, if you watch the Japanese feed, the sound mixing is better.
We're doing that.
And I'm like, now look, if I need to watch a different sound mixing for the crowd to come across like they're hot, then the crowd wasn't hot. Okay? The crowd wasn't hot then. If I got to jump through hoops.
Well, I'll say I was watching on the English feed, and I saw the crowd jumping up and down and making a shit ton of noise versus Bishamon and Aussie Open. So the feed was working well. The audio on the feed was working quite well for the tag match. Let me tell you that.
I've been watching wrestling 40 years. I know when a crowd's hot. Okay, I don't need to switch audio feeds. Okay, I'm just, I'm not trying to bury the guy. All I'm saying is this didn't come across like, oh my God, we couldn't wait. We've been waiting for this title change for 7 years, and this is incredible. This guy's fine. It didn't come across like that to me. It came across like you got the pop for the title change, which you're always going to get for a title change. You got the pop because I think some people were surprised at the title change, and the crowd was undoubtedly hot for the closing stretch of this match. I'm sorry, SANADA did not come across like some hot new star at any point before, after, or during this match. Now, I also had some people in our Discord who were there who said, no, the crowd was hot for him. Okay. All right. If you were there, I wasn't. If you say so. But all I'm telling you is, to me, it didn't come across like they made a guy in one night. Does that mean he's not going to be a guy? No, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But I think there's a lot of things working against him. Like you mentioned, he's not a great pro wrestler. He just isn't. When they put the title on Shingo, when they put it on Ibushi, when they put it on Will Ospreay, and they put it on all three of those guys in the heart of the pandemic, unfortunately for them. But you never had questions about those guys. You're like, oh, those are three of the best wrestlers in the world. Oh, those are three guys with overwhelming charisma. Oh, those are three guys who are undoubtedly over with New Japan crowds. With SANADA, there's questions on both ends. He's not one of the best wrestlers in the world, never has been, and I don't know if he has top-level charisma. Now, I do think they've done a good job with the push, and he's on the right path. I don't know if he's going to get there, though. So, I don't know. That's my giant bucket of cold water on this title change.
Yeah, and so I do think the crowd, at least at the closing stretch, was maybe a little more into it than you're letting on to. I don't know. Like,
okay, all right. Okay, just let me clarify. I'm not saying the crowd was dead. I don't want people to miss.
Right, you're just saying it didn't feel like they were like, oh my God, we're finally seeing this incredible moment. Here we go. This guy is now a superstar. And after this moment, this guy's a superstar.
And I've seen a lot of people frame it as, oh, New Japan fans, they love SANADA. They're super hot for this. I don't buy that. Now, I'm not saying the crowd was dead. I'm not saying it came off flat. Because if I thought the crowd was dead and I thought it came off flat, those are the words I would use. So I just want to be careful. And all I'm saying is it didn't come off cold at all. But it also, to me, didn't come off especially hot. That's all. But anyway, go ahead.
Right. And so your point about, you mentioned like Shingo and Will and Ibushi, and it's like, go look at the history of that championship. Go look at the recent history of that championship. With the exception of, Evil is probably, I mean, obviously this is a different title. So if we're talking about just this specific title, it's Ibushi, it's Ospreay, it's Shingo, it's Okada, it's Jay White, and it's SANADA is the only people that have ever held that title. Now, like, is he better? Okay, he's not a better pro wrestler than Kota Ibushi. We Right. I mean, there's no debate at all with that. He's not a better pro wrestler than Will Ospreay. You and I are not going to debate that or say it. And Shingo as well. Is he as good or better than Jay White? If we're talking about pure in-ring work, would you rather watch SANADA or Jay White?
No, Jay White's a much better wrestler than SANADA, and I think that Jay White was way more over than SANADA is right now.
Okay, yeah, so that'd be a key difference there in terms of that. And then you go back, obviously, the Evil is the one that really sticks out. But other than that,
it's a different kind of thing. That's
right. But other than that, man, I mean, the people that have had this title, dating back to, God damn, we can go to 2010. Togi Makabe is like the last guy that I'll name in addition to Evil. That the title's on Kojima, Tanahashi, Okada, AJ Styles, Naito, Kenny Omega. You know what I mean? Like, that's the level we're talking about here, and so this is different. This is a little different. It's I guess it's kind of similar. Evil as a whole, I'm just gonna strike him from the record. That was a whole different thing. It was during the weirdest time possible in July of 2020. Like, I'm just gonna strike that from the record of combining both of these titles or whatever into their into one lineage or whatever. Other than that, it's been on pretty much clear some of the greatest wrestlers of all time type guys that the title has been on. Except, Jay White and SANADA are maybe the only two that you could say, other than Evil, of course, where you would say, okay, well, these guys, they're good at, would I say they're the greatest wrestler in the world at this time? No, I wouldn't. But I don't know. And that's going to be, I think, an interesting thing to see what happens if he does hold the title for the extended amount of time. Like I'm kind of with you that I don't think he's going to hold the title for a long amount of time. I think he's probably going to lose it very, very quickly, and that'll just kind of be like you said. That now it's okay. We can put this guy in a title picture anytime we want. We can put him in a title match whenever we want now because he has been a champion before. That's just something they do. But I don't know. We're in a more unique situation than I think a lot of people understand right now because SANADA is just not that type of. Can he match the worker style that they want their champions, their top guy to be? Can he reach the pinnacle that all those other guys, and we're talking about the best of the best of all time, those guys that I've named there, is he up to that working standard? I don't know that. And I don't know if it's going to matter or not. And that's, I guess, what I'm a little interested to see moving forward because we are in somewhat uncharted territory. I mean, Jay White is the only guy I can really think of going back to 2010 that really didn't meet what I would say that working standard. And you might even disagree with them. People might say, well, Jay White is incredible. Jay White's awesome. Jay White's got a ton of charisma and he's super over. And yeah, I get that. So it's like we're in a weird situation here with SANADA. And I mean, I'm into it. I like the idea of trying out something new, but I do wonder if there will be a little bit of an adjustment period, knowing that, you're going to have a main event that's going to be for this IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And it might not be a blowaway match. It might just be okay. And we've pretty much been able to rely on these types of matches being, top tier stuff for decades at this point. Almost 13 years at this point, we've been able to say, yeah, if that title is going to get defended in the main event and they're going to get 40 minutes, it's probably going to be pretty goddamn good. And this might change. I don't know.
Look, I'm never going to complain about trying to elevate somebody.
No. I love it. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I don't want people to misunderstand. Like I don't have a problem with this move. I just want to. I'm just unsure of how it's going to work out. But what it does is it establishes that whether he loses the title quickly or not, it establishes that okay, this is a guy who can win G1s. This is a guy who can be in a title match at any time. This is a guy who can be champion. He's now been officially elevated to the top level. And you talked a lot about Jay White. I've seen people say. Someone asked me in my Q&A if I thought that they were elevating SANADA to replace Jay White. This SANADA push was coming whether Jay White stayed with the company or not.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make that clear. This has nothing to do with Jay White being or not being in the company. This SANADA push has been planned for years, and it was coming regardless of Jay White's status. Jay White made a business decision to become a free agent. We all know he had issues during the pandemic and ever really since the pandemic with traveling back and forth to Japan and all that. And it was probably time for Jay White to move on. We've discussed that.
All right, and that's fine. People moving is, and again, we always say this, and we're going to have to say this every time somebody moves. It's not a bad thing. Movement in wrestling is good. I love movement in wrestling. Now he's got a whole new fresh coat of paint in AEW. We don't know what the character is going to be like. We don't know what he's going to do. We don't know what he's going to, people speculating, well, he's going to be this, he's going to be that. We don't know. He hasn't wrestled in a TV match. He hasn't wrestled a 12-minute television match. We don't know. We don't know. And I love that. I love the unknown. I love not knowing. It's boring to just know. It's been it was boring for me to know that, I'm going to be able to watch Jay White have a 25-minute match where Gato screams on the outside. I got bored of that. I was done with that. I hope you were all done with that too. Like, I'm ready to see a new coat of paint on Jay White. I'm ready to see him in an unfamiliar atmosphere. That's cool. To me, that's what makes wrestling fun. I want people to move and go and leave and change and flip back and forth. I mean, Jesus, it's so much more fun than just stagnant rosters. Ugh.
You know who got elevated because Jay White left is David Finlay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's who got elevated because Jay White left, and that's a good thing too. Where they finally, shit or get off the pot with Finlay. And
look what it's done to the Bullet Club. I mean, they were probably going to do some Bullet Club thing, but goddamn, we'll talk about this show. I mean, they are just injecting that thing with life. I mean, there's more life in the New Japan Bullet Club than there has been in 10 years at this point. I mean, just I love the directions they're going. I just love that they're trying different things. And yeah, it's throwing everything for a loop because it's like, all right, we lost one of our big guys. Well, then screw it. Let's do this and this or whatever. That's cool. I love that. More of that, please.
And I'm high on Finlay. I think he's doing a great job, and I think that you can tell that he's super motivated too. Like, he's been waiting for almost a decade for this, and he's finally getting a genuine push, and you could tell that he's relishing in this. And the one thing that's kind of been a constant with Finlay, and we're going to get back to SANADA, but very quickly on this, is he always came across to some extent like he was going through the motions, right? And it's like, who can blame him? He was there for 6, 7, 8, 9 years. He's never he's like almost never in a G1. He's always a prelim guy. His pushes are always very short and fleeting. And it showed. It showed in his body language and his mannerisms and his promos. And now it's like a whole new
David. His body.
You can tell.
I saw it a lot in his body too. Yeah. The guy just like, I mean, he came into New Japan and he was so nice and tight and it was all, and like as the years went on, he just kind of was like, whatever. I mean, I'm going to eat this cake. Like, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need abs. Like, who cares?
His gear.
You're not going to push me, so I'm going to eat this fucking cake. Who cares?
This guy is so clearly energized, and it's exciting to watch. Okay. But back to SANADA. I'll disagree with you slightly on Jay White. I think Jay White did meet the working standard of New Japan. Jay White's problem wasn't his work or his ability. Because he's an excellent pro wrestler. Where Jay White's matches sometimes wouldn't work are his deep psychological. This guy wants to make a fucking 40-minute psychological thriller every time he's in a main event, and when it doesn't land, you want to just fucking you want to go in the garage and hang yourself. It's like you can't. But when it lands, it's great. When Jay White's shit lands, it's great. The problem is a lot of times his shit wouldn't land. I think he's a much better wrestler than SANADA. I mean, SANADA has a lot of holes in his work, and he is who he is. I mean, this isn't some young whippersnapper. SANADA is who he is. Okay, he wrestles very often with 2 left feet. 1 out of every 3 matches, he's a sloppy mess. But I'll say this: I'm glad he has the new finisher, because that's so much better than this tired ass skull end, which is the worst looking big time move in wrestling.
Yes, I'm with you on
this
that.
Tired ass skull end into the moonsault. Now he's got this wacky variation of the flatliner DDT, whatever the fuck you want. What would you call that move he does? I don't even know what he calls it. But
I forget what he calls it, but yeah, a variation of the flatliner, I would say.
It's something everybody in WWE was doing in 2000 and whatever the fuck. But it's better for him to have a move like that. And I think that move lends itself better to the end of match structure of a typical New Japan main event, where it's a lot of counters and reversals. So that move's going to serve him well there too. Much better than that fucking skull end, which would grind the matches to a halt.
He could never put it on right, and he would
can't put it on right.
Yeah.
And even when he puts it on right, it looks like shit, and it grinds the match to a halt. And it's just, So I think that the finisher is an improvement. I think that his look is an improvement, but let's see if the charisma. Because here's the thing, okay? He's a guy that looks the part, but he doesn't have that natural, overwhelming charisma that can carry him. And he has to find a way to find that next level crowd connection.
Right. He looks like $1 million, but he doesn't carry himself like that. He doesn't carry himself like, I'm the motherfucking superstar. Look how I'm the hottest guy in the fucking world, and I'm the best guy in the goddamn world. You know what I mean? He never has carried himself like that. He's very quiet, kind of shy in sense. So,
and that can work for some guys, but for him, it's not enough.
Right.
He doesn't have enough charisma to
overcome
get away
that.
With that.
Yeah.
And his wrestling isn't nearly as dynamic enough to overcome that either. So that's where I have questions. Can he find that next level crowd connection? And I don't know the answer to that. If I had to bet, I would say the answer is no, that he will not. So we'll see. They elevated the guy. We kind of saw it coming. You have to constantly attempt to make new stars. You have to, or, you get stagnant, you die. So they're not all going to land. And I think the jury is firmly out on this one.
All right, so that is SANADA. Obviously, we're going to talk in a sec here about what he has coming up at Wrestling Dontaku, because he's got a, if you watch, well, I guess, let's just do that, because at the end of the match, Hiromu Takahashi comes out, and nobody's quite sure what he's doing out here, and then all of a sudden he slides in the ring, and he says he wants a shot at the title. So now it's SANADA versus Hiromu Takahashi for the main event of Wrestling Dontaku, May 3rd. So he's against his former LIJ partner in Hiromu Takahashi. It's a heavyweight versus a junior. Are you interested in that match? Are you excited about that match? Where do you land on that? I think it's unique and it's different, but I don't know. I guess and I've loved Hiromu so far this year, so I guess this would be a great test, because Hiromu's had a lot of great matches this year. Seems like a great opportunity for him and SANADA to just go out there and kill it. And I guess this might be, like you said, might be a good test to see if SANADA can deliver, to that main event style.
I think Hiromu's been great this year. I think he's a dark horse wrestler of the year candidate. I thought he was in one of the two best matches on this show. I thought the match with Robbie Eagles was great. I thought his match with Leo Rush a couple months ago was great. I think Hiromu has been fantastic this year. And obviously SANADA is going to beat him. And the conventional wisdom is that SANADA wins this match, then Naito comes out. And, that's the story we're telling here, right? He left LIJ. He wins the title. He's going to beat Naito's little buddy, and then Naito's going to come out and challenge him. And then a lot of people think Naito's going to beat him for the title. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if that's how all of this plays out. And, and then we have Naito will be the champion through the G1 and, possibly go into the Dome with title. Who knows? And then we go from there. But yeah, what it tells us is SANADA's not going to be one and done champion, because he's absolutely not losing.
He's winning this. Yeah, he's clearly winning that match.
This is 100%. There's not a shadow of a doubt. There's no chance whatsoever Hiromu wins. But I think Hiromu was having a great year. I thought he had a great match in the semi against Robbie Eagles. I guess we can transition to that. And yeah, they're telling the story of SANADA leaving his boys, and now his boys are coming for him.
Yep.
So this is just good classic pro wrestling booking. Like, you can't. Maybe you don't like SANADA. Maybe you think SANADA stinks and this is a big mistake. But what you can't knock is the booking here, because the booking makes sense. So,
well, you know what, and this is another one of those moments, and you always talked about this throughout the years of this podcast, is that Gato light bulb booking that always comes up. Yeah. That a moment, something happens, then you go back through the memory bank and go, oh man, yeah, right. And I'll give credit to Kevin Kelly for bringing this up on the English commentary. He says, remember where we were at the end of January with this guy losing a match to Manabu Soya in that Wrestle Kingdom in Yokohama Arena, that New Japan versus Noah show or whatever. And we laughed that SANADA was in a match against Manabu Soya, and he lost. Like, New Japan cleaned up on that night, and one of their big losses was SANADA losing to Manabu Soya. And we were like, man, what are you doing if you're SANADA, man? Like, you're just spinning your wheels at this point. It all comes back to that. You know what I mean? It all comes back to that guy, losing, and they built, was this in the plans then? I would assume so, right? Like, I have no reason not to believe it was, because that's Gato.
Yes, it was.
That's Gato 101. I mean, that's what he's done. I mean, he has always, time and time again, it's like, people, the let it play out folks with Cody and whatnot in WWE, and we're like, well, no, we don't, because they very rarely let it play out. Like, they very rarely, they don't deserve that benefit of the doubt, whereas Gato does. So you can go back and look at the situation and go, fuck, was that This was all kind of building up to this moment here where he's at his lowest point they could possibly be. He's a member of LIJ losing to a Noah guy and losing to Manabu Soya, who, God, is Manabu Soya. And even Kevin Kelly said, he was like, no offense, but like, he's Manabu Soya or whatever, which I kind of laughed at. He was like, he was in January and he's losing to, guys like Manabu Soya. And he's like, well, no disrespect to Manabu Soya, but Manabu Soya. You know what I mean? Like, and I know what he's trying to say there. Like, he's not trying to say he's a geek, but like, you're Manabu Soya. You know what I mean? Like it's at a certain level at this point in his career. And yeah, it told a great story where he was at his worst, his absolute worst. And little by little, moved up. And yeah, New Japan Cup came up and halfway through the cup, he just decides, you know what? I got a new crew. I don't need you guys anymore. I got a new crew who are going to, get me ready to go and want me to be the top guy and are going to, pump me up and get me ready to go. And hell, it charges them all the way through the New Japan Cup and charges them all the way to this IWGP title. So yeah, just, in 3 months time, he goes from, being one of the lone losers of that entire show and just kind of a laughing stock to, now the champion. And that's another one of those Gato light bulb booking things where you're like, oh man, again, awesome.
Well, you had to throw Noah a couple bones on that show. Okay. You had to. And if the plan was for SANADA to just run through the New Japan Cup, well, that's his push. You know what I mean? So it's like no one's thinking about the Manabu Soya loss when he's beating, Taichi and Tetsuya Naito and then Finlay in the final of a New Japan Cup. And he would have beaten Will Ospreay, right? The plan was to beat Will Ospreay, but he got hurt. So then he ended up, he would have beaten, listen to this. He would have beaten Taichi, Kenta, Tetsuya Naito, Will Ospreay, and then the final. I mean, that's push. When two of those guys are two of the biggest stars in the company. And here's another sneaky thing that, again, it makes sense with the benefit of hindsight. The last 3 times SANADA wrestled Taichi, he beat him in the G1, he beat him in the television title tournament, and he beat him in the New Japan Cup. And then he joins his group, and he had already, so to the fan, he has asserted his dominance over Taichi, and he's unquestionably the leader of that group when he enters it. Because he beat him 3 straight times in 3 straight tournaments in singles matches. So it's like, there's no dispute who the leader here is, because he beats this guy like a drum, and he just knocked him out of 3 tournaments in a row. So there's that little wrinkle too. So I don't know. We see how it goes. I mean, I'm open-minded to it. And again, maybe because to us, this didn't come across like a shock. I mean, if you're really dialed into this promotion, again, from both a long-term and short-term standpoint, this shouldn't have been a shock. Right.
You could, I could allow you to maybe be like surprised, but I don't even know if I could allow you to be that. Like, I thought it was like a near mortal lock that he was going to do. I would have been stunned if they did all this stuff and then he just ate a Rainmaker. You know what I mean? Like that would have been the shock to me. The shock wasn't him winning. Like I did I think it was 100% that he was going to win? No, of course. It's Okada and he's in an all-time reign. Maybe they thought about it. But again, this is how you finish stories. This is how you tell stories. You know what I mean? Like you actually have things happen. You have guys win. You do these sort of things. So yeah, if it wasn't, if you're going to do all this sort of stuff and give him this new coat of paint, there was no reason not to have him at least, or kick the tires on his title reign. And yeah, again, like we're saying, this guy doesn't have to hold the title for another year. He can lose it, 2 defenses. He can not even make it, to Dominion or whatever. That's fine. Like that's okay. He can make it, or he loses at Dominion. That's fine. That is okay because you've already established him. So yeah, it's exciting in one sense, and I'm excited to see what they do with it, and if it takes, and if it doesn't, who knows?
Look, if it draws, it works. That's it. Mm-hmm. It's really what it comes down to. So maybe again, like Rich said though, it's not a lock that you're going to get the IWGP title matches that you're accustomed to. I'm not saying he can't have great matches. He can. But it's like, no matter who he's in there with, it's like, you don't know if you're going to get a great match.
Right. It always felt like you'd roll ring that bell, put in whoever, and it's probably going to be, 4-star minimum. That's what we've had for 13 years, basically. You know what I mean? Like, and not all of them. You had Okada. There's been some bad matches along the way, of course, but like, god damn, not many. Not many.
Yeah, but when you're talking about Okada and Naito and Shingo and Will Ospreay and all the recent
Omega,
like, come on,
Kenny Omega,
yeah, like these guys are gonna have great matches. Like you don't have to even think about it twice. This is a situation where it's like, it's the Paulie Walnuts meme. It's like, I'm not quite sure. This one might not be a great match, no matter who he's in there with. It's, because you could get Bad Night SANADA. But we should probably move on. There's a lot to talk about.
Let's do that. Yeah, so let's go to the semi main event, like you said, IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Hiromu Takahashi defeating Robbie Eagles, 21 minutes and 12 seconds. I love this match. I not my match of the night. My match of the night we'll talk about here in a minute, but clear. I think this is the clear second for me. For match of the night, I thought Eagles looked great, and Hiromu, like you kind of talked about earlier, and I've echoed that thought that you've had, is a rejuvenated year from Hiromu. I don't know what was going on last year. I don't know what was going on where it just felt like, you know, I don't know if we said the term wash, but it was just like, what is going on with this guy? It just doesn't feel like he's all the way there, man. He is all the way back, and this is the type of Hiromu that you know we all, you know, fell in love with all those years ago, and he's not as daredevil-y as he used to be, and that's okay, but he's making it work. And maybe it was just that adjustment period. Maybe it was just that adjustment of knowing, hey, I can't do some of the crazy stuff I was doing before, but I'm gonna have to adjust and you know, alter my style a little bit. But yeah, he's going out there and he's killing it, and he obviously defeats Robbie Eagles, retains the title. But I love this great closing stretch, and really liked a lot of what happened in this. This was just a spectacular match. Really enjoyed it.
Look, we knew that his style was not sustainable, right? We knew that, where you can't just go out there and throw your body around and try to kill yourself and then almost succeed against Dragon Lee, where he broke his neck, and that just wasn't sustainable. And he got the broken neck, and then for a few years there, it's not like he was a bad wrestler, but it was like it
just wasn't the same. Something was off.
He wasn't the same guy, and now it's like he's still not the same guy, but now he's having great matches again in different ways. And, you know, he's never going to be that guy that, you know, had the great series of matches with Dragon Lee in Mexico and then had some of them, you know, against him in Japan and was doing all that wild shit. That guy's long gone. But I think that this year he's been so much better than he's been in the past couple of years. And he's just found a different way to be great. And close your ears, Jesse Collins. But the limb work in this match was phenomenal. And I mean from both guys. And the thing about Robbie Eagles is
he's so good.
What's so great about him, and why I was so high on him coming into the company, because I followed his career obviously before he came to New Japan and was a big proponent of his. And then he had that Will Ospreay feud in Australia that put him on the map. And Ospreay brings him to New Japan. And I told people, look, this guy's great. Everyone's going to eventually, you know, turn the corner on this. You're going to eventually get him, right? And what's great about Robbie Eagles is he can do all of the dynamic shit that a modern junior should be able to do. He can do flippy doos. He's a good aerial wrestler. He can work at that pace. But he also is a technician, and he works his matches around those legs and around working for that Ron Miller special. And there's a different kind of storytelling and psychology in a Robbie Eagles New Japan Junior match than with most of the other guys on the roster, because it's always focused around, I'm going to work this guy's legs and I'm going to lock on that Ron Miller special. And he set that tempo in his very first match in the company with Liger. When he beat him in that Cork and Hall match, and where it was like, oh, they believe in him. This is them telling us they believe in him. And he set the template there because he worked that match the same way. And that's what this was. And Hiromu was so great selling the leg. These guys were just both at the top of their game here. And I thought this was the best match of the night. And I loved the tag match. I thought this was a smidge better. And that's not any disrespect to the tag match.
You son of a bitch.
Hiromu is probably in my top 5 wrestlers of the year right now. I mean,
the output's been great. I mean, yeah, when you really put it in totality, I did that a little bit, or, you know, earlier today, putting my notes together. I was like, fuck, this guy's had a great year. Like, I can't kill you for that. I can't. The output has been, you know, it does it in a semi-main event here and delivers for sure. So no, I can't kill you for that at all.
Yeah, and in a couple days here, I'm going to do my March notebook roundup article because people really seem to like those, so I'm going to keep doing them. You know, where I collect the best matches of the month and rank them. And then, you know, people use it as a nice guide to see what they haven't seen. And when I do a little thing where I put the top 5 wrestlers of each month, and it's every time I write one of these, it's like Hiromu's top of mind for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where am I going to put him in my top 5? Is he going to be in my top? He's just been so good all year. And, you know, you never know with SANADA, but again, he has the potential to have another great match because he's going to be in a main event match for the world title against a guy who's capable of having a great match. So we'll see how they work it, but this match I thought was fantastic, and we're going to get the best of the Super Junior lineups in a couple of days here. So, and I guess he'll enter that as champion, and, I guess he'll win his block and somebody will beat him in the final. So it's just a matter of figuring out who in the other block he's going to face.
Right. But a lot of credit to Eagles too here, and for all the love about Hiromu. And Robbie Eagles is just fucking great, and it's been it's been kind of up and down for him in terms of like a push, in terms of actually getting a spot like this. And no, I don't think he's probably ever going to win this title. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy that's going to have a sustained run with this, but it is nice to know that you could put him in these sort of spots and he's going to deliver on that high a level too. But this was great. I mean, this was just really, really great stuff out of him too. And yeah, these guys, I look forward to many, many more matches with these two guys because I think they can really, really tell. And again, like you said, told really good stories, and the limb work was fantastic throughout. And Eagles is just a killer. Like you said, to me, he's in some ways a little bit of a throwback of the New Japan Junior style. More of your Otani than those other guys. You know what I mean? More, not necessarily all ground game, but he can fly. He can do that sort of stuff, but he's just so good at manipulating body parts and keeping things on the ground and trying to, it's just great stuff. He's such a high level worker, and it's long overdue for him to have a big spot like this.
So let's briefly defend Jesse here. Twitter sucks. And, this is another one of those things where if you don't know the person or understand what they're trying to say, Jesse will speak for himself, I'm sure, on one of his outlets, but he wasn't trying to say that nobody should do limb work, and it doesn't, it's like limb work should be something that what he was saying is,
no, I was told by the quote tweets, like, so you don't like wrestling and wrestling. All right, dude, is what I saw a bunch of times. So that please clarify.
I think what he was trying to say was maybe it isn't the best way to watch wrestling isn't to hyper focus on limb work and act like if a guy didn't get his limb shot off with a shotgun that that you can't enjoy a match. I think that's what he was trying to say.
Yeah, and I believe that was the case too, and it's something that we have said on the show too. For many years, where people would get on us about, oh, that Will Ospreay sucks because he doesn't sell his knee enough, or Kenny Omega, he doesn't sell the leg, and it's like. I think Kenny Omega even once, came back to that when people were like, oh, you don't sell. And he was like, I played like high level junior hockey with like numerous knee injuries. Like you just kind of sometimes gut through it. Like, I can still skate. Like I don't have to pretend that my leg got shot off. Like I'm allowed to still use my leg. But yeah, the idea, but it's always been, and this has been for a very long time. It's always been a very convenient way to just, point out something you don't like about a wrestler that you don't like.
I do think people I think selling is an easy way to criticize or bury a wrestler that you don't like you're saying. I do think that there are fans who legitimately do hyper focus on limb selling though. And I do think it ruins a match for them if it isn't done right. And I fall somewhere in the middle. Like I've always put it like this. I love and appreciate great limb selling, right? More than I dislike bad limb selling. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm probably right with you. I love when a guy is great at it, but a match isn't made or break. I don't love or hate a match because of how a guy limb sold. But sometimes I might love a match because somebody did great limb selling.
Right. Like I appreciate great limb work and limb selling more than I hate the opposite. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I've seen matches that were ruined for me because the limb selling was completely absurd or the limb work was way over the top and then it just wasn't sold at all. That sucks. Okay. We've all seen matches like that, I think. But the best way I could articulate it is I appreciate it when it's good, worse than I hate it when it's not good. And when it's awful, like everybody else, I can't stand it. But maybe, look, again, I don't want to talk for Jesse. He might not care about whether someone sells limbs at all. That wasn't the impression I got from his post, though. But
Twitter fucking sucks.
Get off Twitter. It is because it's a terrible place to make that kind of point because right. It's the thing we always talk about. You're going to get people swooping in who don't know who you are. They don't know the first thing about you.
Right, and they're going to make a grand statement on you've read 100 characters that somebody wrote, and you have now declared, I know this person, and I'm going to tell them why they're wrong about this point that I don't even know if I know what they're talking about.
It's more, okay, it's more of, this is an easy target. I'm going to crack my knuckles, quote tweet it, and let the likes roll in. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, so there's a lot of that to it. And I saw, but again, what we've learned over the years is Twitter is a horrible, horrible outlet for those kinds of conversations and making those kinds of points. It just is. I mean, it doesn't work for a variety of reasons. And he did phrase it poorly. I could see where people wouldn't have understood what he was trying to say. I think he even admitted that. But again, that's one of the perils and drawbacks of the medium. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Terrible. Delete it all, please. Elon's trying, but I keep getting people keep promising me this thing's going to fall apart, and it just has not fallen apart yet. So please.
And I love how we caught strays. Like, it wasn't even our tweet.
We always do. Like, VOW at it again. Oh, of course he's from VOW. It's like, brother, we have like 47 regular or semi-regular contributors to Voices of Wrestling. Like in both this podcast, the podcast network, written reviews, columns, all these sort of things. Like it's not, we don't all have to agree with one fucking thing. Like have a better thought than, VOW at it again.
It's like,
shut up.
Guy, we haven't tweeted an opinion in 2 years. Leave me out of it. Leave me alone. I don't even agree with his tweet. Like, why am I catching strays?
The worst. Fuck Twitter. Go away. Anyway, let's talk about better things, including this IWGP Tag Team title match. Aussie Open defeats Bishamon. Joe, you finally got your way. Bishamon finally lost the title. But man, 15 minutes and 30 seconds. This was my match of the night. I fucking love this match. And guess what, Joe? I did not have to switch to the Japanese feed to hear the crowd, because the crowd was going fucking ballistic for pretty much this entire match, from opening bell to the final bell. I can't say enough good things about this match. I loved this match, and it had one of our favorite things ever, accidental blood, where Kyle Fletcher falls to the outside doing a dive, or he did I think a moonsault to the floor, and hit his head on the back of the guardrail and came up busted and bleeding. They taped him up. He looked great because he was just bleeding from all over the place, but they put like a white tape around his head, so you got this blood-soaked white tape. Man, he looks like Shinya Hashimoto out there, just bleeding buckets with this white headband on, and oh my god. And then the work was just fucking tremendous. Bishamon is so good. It's the best role for Goto and Yoshihashi. It's just perfect for them. And what more do you have to say about Aussie Open? They dazzled WrestleMania weekend. They've dazzled in everything they've done. I mean, they are one of the best, if not the best tag team in the world right now. And if you're not watching them, you're missing out, because they're just great. And they're on another level right now. And I thought this match, I went 4.5 with this. I loved this match. Just incredible stuff.
Yeah. When he put that tape on his head, and I mean, he looked like Tommy Rich fighting off the Andersons in Georgia.
Yeah, there you go.
Blood. And, I like the Hashimoto comp too. I didn't even think about that. But, I mean, we were like 2 inches from accidental death, let alone accidental blood.
That was pretty brutal. That was very bad. Could have been much worse.
He nicked the side of his head on the base of the guardrail, like the footing of the guardrail. And if he would have hit that flush with the back of his head, that could have been a really ugly situation. I think he would have been knocked out at minimum, and who knows, maybe worse. I mean, a concussion, something. But he's very lucky he kind of just skimmed the side of his head, because it was basically just a flesh wound at that point, and then it's just a matter of, okay, if we can tape it shut or glue it shut.
No, Joe, but I am a good wrestling fan, and I want you to give me likes on Twitter. So they should have stopped the match, so they could have, given him stitches. I want Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi standing with their arms crossed while the doctors attend to Kyle Fletcher. That's what I want out of my wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, look, he very clearly wasn't knocked out at any point. He had his full wits about him, and it was he got cut. I taped it up and he kept going. I think if a guy gets knocked out, you got a good argument to stop a match. But when these guys get cut,
blood's
open,
okay. Blood's okay in wrestling. I think blood's okay in wrestling, and I think if a guy gets an accidental cut, and he's bleeding, maybe you can use that. And you know what they did? They fucking taped him up, and he's dripping blood all over his headband, and he looked incredible. It was an even better moment, an even more iconic moment that would have been lost if they stopped the fucking match to, give him stitches ringside or whatever the hell they had to do.
This undoubtedly made the match more memorable and it made the match better. And it fired him up. Like it fired him up as a performer.
Oh yeah, he got back in the ring and he was just pounding the mat because I'm sure it hurt like fucking hell. You know what I mean? And he was just ready to go, just all on adrenaline. And it was great.
Yeah, and he was great for the rest of the match. And Bishamon were great champions. We kind of gave up on predicting them to lose, and now they lose.
Of course, of course.
But yeah, and look, Kyle Fletcher. I've seen a lot of chatter. This, may have been the coming out moment for him where people kind of have their eyes open to look, this is a future star in the business, right? Like he very well could be a future star in the business. He's still disgustingly young. He's tall, and we all know that matters a lot. The work, is obviously there, and he's only going to get better. And his look has improved tenfold. I mean, when Aussie Open first broke in to the the greater scene, you remember how skinny he was.
Oh my god, he was 120 pounds soaking wet with his long hair. He looked like a dork. He was also like 19 years old too. You know what I mean? Like it was.
Yeah, he looked like Kendall Windham. He reminded me of Kendall Windham, but and Davis is look, he's great too. He obviously doesn't have the singles upside that Fletcher has for a variety of reasons, but Fletcher could be a guy. And, I know they've been doing some shots for AEW, but it's the kind of guy where I know Tony Khan wants to play nice with his partners and everything, but, if these guys aren't under contract, I'd pull that guy in a room and see if I can get him his signature on a piece of paper, because New Japan's going to sign him if you don't, and then if New Japan signs him to a 2 or 3 year deal, now he's 2 or 3 years. I don't know. This is the kind of guy where, if I can get him under contract, I try to do it because it's very obvious that this is a guy who has a very high ceiling and long-term potential. But yeah, this was a great match. This was a lot of people's match of the night. It was right there to me with the junior match. And Aussie Open, away we go. I think they've pretty much won over most of their detractors at this point. The one if you want to be a little critical of Aussie Open, I think that they're an action tag team. In other words, I haven't seen them work a lot of old school Southern tags where Fletcher sells and makes the hot tag. That's not what they do.
That's not them.
That's not what they do. So I could see someone maybe not jiving with them from that standpoint, but that's the style of New Japan tag team. I mean, New Japan's tag team division is basically tornado tags and has been for a long time. They start off as standard tag matches, and then it's just fucking chaos for the last, it's just all 4 guys just doing cool shit. That's New Japan tags. So they fit in with this like a glove. But that is a critique. Can they work, a more traditional tag team style, an American television tag team style?
I mean, I don't really care right now though if they can or not, because like you said, they're in New Japan.
That's a valid argument too.
Yeah.
That's a valid argument too. It's whatever gets you over is what gets you over, right? That's really what matters. But I can see someone from the standpoint of, all right, well, they're just guys that go in there and do shit. And, from that's like the one area you could attack them, because they're great wrestlers. They have exciting matches. They nail other shit. They're creative. If they're in a promotion, eventually they're going to get over. They have everything else. So, no, this was, in hindsight, I'm glad that Bishamon held the titles as long as they did, because they had an excellent run.
They really reestablished this division. I mean, this division was in the doldrums for a long, long time when it would just go. I mean, oh my God, God would just win the World Tag League, win the titles, do nothing with them. I was like, oh God, it felt like we did that for, I don't know, it felt like 5 years straight, the exact same thing. And I know it was different, and I know some guys would come in, but like, man, it just felt like a very, very boring amount of time where and then, man, you had was it last year you had Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens that had a run with it for a little bit, and I know there was the Ocon and Cobb team that was okay, but it just never felt like it had any juice. And then it just went away FTR had him the titles for a while, and then they just it was kind of out of sight, out of mind for a while. So yeah, you combine that with, what really felt like, and we didn't love the Dangerous Tekkers stuff. Like, I guess if you love the Dangerous Tekkers stuff, you could say, well, that was great. But I didn't vibe with that stuff as much as some other people did. So that didn't do much for me. So yeah, this Bishamon run has really felt like just a complete rejuvenation for this tag division, and just a better and a higher working style out of it too. I mean, if we can get more matches like Bishamon had, and a lot less, Guerrillas of Destiny type matches, count me in on caring about this division again, because it's been a very long time since I gave any shit about it.
Chase Owens, that was kind of his thank you for being a good soldier.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Coming to all the tours, working through the pandemic. You know what I mean? So he's an office favorite. He just is, because they see him as a guy who keeps his nose down, never complains, does whatever he's asked, shows up whenever they ask him to show up. So he's probably, he might have a job for life as long as he wants one, and that doesn't mean he's ever going to be pushed to a significant degree, but he's absolutely an office favorite.
All right, so there you go. That is Bishamon Aussie Open. So excited to see what happens there. We'll move on to the World TV title match here. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shota Umino. Zack Sabre Jr. wins in 13 minutes and 35 seconds. Of course, they're doing the 15-minute time limit thing here. So, instead of every match, being like quick in action, everything goes until like, oh, we might get to the time limit, and then we never get to the time limit. He always kind of finishes some guy off, in 13 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. I don't know. I've seen some people that really, really like this match. I don't know. I was kind of in between on it. Where'd you stand on Sabre versus Umino? Because it just, I don't know. It just didn't land with me.
Okay, so a lot of people think Sakura Genesis is a show of the year contender and a really great show, and I know where they're coming from. I think, and I thought it was a good show. I think what separates the opinion of this was a really good show and this was a great show, one of the best shows of the year, is where you stand on the main event, this match, and the three-way women's match. Because I think everyone agrees that the tag match was great. You get some differing opinions on the junior match. I've seen some people who didn't like that one so much, but most people agree that at minimum was pretty good. Now, if you thought these other three matches, the main event, the TV title match, and the women's three-way match were great matches, now I could see where you're saying this is one of the best cards of the year. I thought they were good matches. I didn't think they were great matches. Yeah. I that's where I am. I thought that the junior match and the tag match were undoubtedly great matches, but there were my only two quote-unquote notebook matches on the show. These other matches I'd have in the 3.5. The women's three-way, I'm not trying to jump ahead. I've got that at 3.25. I didn't even think that was anything all that special.
I didn't love it either. Yeah, I didn't love it either.
This match I had at like 3.5, and the main event I had 3.75, which are really good matches. But that's the difference between a really good show and a great show.
Right. That's the difference between, hey, I really enjoyed watching it, which I did. I loved watching Sakura Genesis. I did not feel like I wasted a second of my time. And
oh, hell no.
And that's just a show of the year. Like, yeah, it wasn't that for me either.
No, I can't put this on the level of Revolution or the ROH pay-per-view or Wrestle Kingdom or anything like that. But a lot of people are, and I see where they're coming from if you thought that those other three matches were great. But no, I thought it was a really good match. And it's, like you're saying, a lot of these Sabre matches, it always seems to come down to very tight on the time limit. And now even Kelly is kind of laughing at the idea that this was supposed to be a title built around young guys, which was something that I reported, but then it wasn't even a secret. Like, the company then came out and said it, like, publicly after I talked about it. But it hasn't been that at all. Like, it hasn't been that at all. Isn't the next challenger some other old fuck? Who's the next challenger for this? It's
the next challenger, I don't know if I have that in front of me right now. Let me see if I can find it. Or the Noto chat will, I'm sure, let us know as soon as possible. But it's Tom Lawler, young upstart Tom Lawler is the next.
No, I think he has one set. Maybe that is it.
Yeah, that's this weekend. That's this week at Capital Collision. So I don't know if he's got one after that.
He had a Jeff Cobb match coming at some point. I thought it was Jeff Cobb, but maybe I'm wrong. But the point is, neither Jeff Cobb nor Tom Lawler are hot young stars on the rise. So this title just hasn't been what they said it was going to be. But no, I thought it was a really good match. Sabre he's Sabre. He's he had a match against I don't want to derail, but Sabre had a match against Michael Oku in Rev Pro on, I want to give you the date, March 26th. Okay. That's the show where they did the Revolution Rumble, the York Hall show, which to me, that was a show of the year contender. But that match against Oku, I went 4.5. That's a must-watch match. The Zack Sabre Jr. Michael Oku match. But yeah, this is a really good match.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm kind of tiring of the Zack style with this title. Like I was really hoping that because it was the 15 minutes, there'd be a little more juice at the beginning of the match. You know what I mean? More of the guy that's trying to defeat Sabre wants to beat him as quickly as possible. But they just seem to have like a normal ass match for 8 minutes and then decide, oh God, we're getting kind of close. All right, let's go now. So I don't know. I want a little bit more. I thought these things that the 15-minute time limit would really wear on people, and they'd say, oh my God, I got to get going. I got to, go fast. And I guess maybe that's my own expectations and it's not really fair, but I don't know. It just seems like the style is not that. I mean, some of the matches on the show were, 15 minutes. Like the 15-minute time limit doesn't seem that. I mean, the tag title match went 15 minutes and 30 seconds. Like it's if we're gonna have matches and everyone's going to go 13 to 14 minutes, then just the hell's the point of 15-minute time limit? Like it's not. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's that important or that much different. Where I really was hoping when this title came out, like, all right, we're gonna have some real matches where the bell's gonna ring and there's gonna be action right away, and these guys want to just win as quickly as possible. And it just hasn't been that way with Zack Sabre Jr. And that's not the way Zack's gonna work either. He's gonna work his methodical style, but I think that's gonna be on his opponents. I want that style to be that these guys just know that I have this opportunity and I only have X amount of time to beat this guy, so I got to get going. I got to go. And Umino's not that guy. He's not a guy that's going to grab you by the balls and say, all right, here we go, and let's have this match. Like, he's just not that kind of guy. And I did note this, too, in the ongoing, like, let's figure out what Umino is and if he's delivering or whatnot. They are trying everything with this guy. They are going bells and whistles as much as they can. This guy comes out through the crowd now. So they play his music, and he emerges from the crowd, a la Jon Moxley. And now he's handing trinkets out to children. He is now a dynamic dude tossing the frisbees out. I'm just saying.
Do you hate this?
I'm just saying we're at that point where now please love this man. Here you go. Here, child. Here's a glow stick. I love you. Thank you for supporting Shota Umino. I'm just saying we're at that. We're at a lot of shortcuts already with my guy.
I love that you hate this guy. I love it. I love
a lot of shortcuts. A lot of shortcuts. That's all I'm saying. For
I love
future superstar. Future superstar. Hey kids, cheer for me. Thanks. Vote for Umino. Just saying.
This is your thing.
He plays pro wrestler. He plays pro wrestler. I looked him in the eyes. I told you. I saw that Windy City show, the New Japan show. Looked him in the eyes. He doesn't have it.
He's a young guy. Give him a chance, Rich.
Okay, great. Grow. All right. Okay, cool. Yeah, all right.
Maybe you're mad because he didn't hand you a trinket.
Yeah, he wasn't handed. He just came out and was boring as fuck in that match. Yeah, he was just had a boring bad match with Jay White. Yeah, he did not hand out any trinkets. What is it like?
Is it one of those Lance Armstrong like Live Strong bracelet?
I forget what he was giving out, but I just think it's funny that we've entered the dynamic dudes phase of Shota Umino, where he's tossing frisbees out to the crowd. Hey, how's it going? He did the thing a couple months ago he was walking out and just waving to everybody. He would come down and he waved to everybody. Hi, how are you? Now he needs to start kissing babies too. He's got to hand out trinkets, kiss babies. Maybe he can have.
I want to know what you thought. I want you to watch that Oku match. Tell me what you thought of the Oku match.
Okay, the Sabre Oku.
Yeah,
that was what was the date on that? Because I'm behind on my Rev Pro. I gotta watch.
Just watch the York Hall
Rev
show.
Rev Pro York Hall. All right, got
Revolution Rumble.
All right,
the whole show's great. Whole show's great.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Welcome to BreezeLine, where you'll say, ta-ta T-Mobile, because we've got more reliable home internet that's a whole lot faster. In fact, 10 times faster. No, seriously, because we have real internet backed by our fiber-powered network. And T-Mobile, well, they just have a 5G cellular network. So act now to get superior home internet. Find your perfect speed with prices starting at just $19.99 a month for 24 months. Terms and conditions apply. Go to breezeline.com to learn more.
But anyway, that's Umino, Zack Sabre Jr. So let's get to the women's three-way. Mercedes Monet, which Kevin Kelly, you got to listen to this show. He keeps calling her Monet. He's like, me? Yeah, it's not Monet. It's Monet, right?
Yeah, he's wrong.
He's wrong. He's Mercedes Monet versus Azumi versus Hazuki. It's a three-way match here. IWGP Women's title. Monet retains the title, defeating Azumi and Hazuki. 13 minutes and 53 seconds. I've seen a lot of different takes on this one. A lot of people, like, this one is all over the board. I'm actually going to, let me see if I can get Cage Match up here to see if that's reflected. Because at least in the people that I've talked to and the stuff that I've followed, it's like...
Cage Match loves it.
Okay, so they mostly love it. Yeah, 33 10s, 97 9s, 96 8s, 37s. Okay, so that's almost entire. Wow, almost everybody above, at least above a 7. But yeah, so that okay.
Cage Match has all the Joshi freaks, though. You got to remember that.
Yeah, because I feel like I've and I'm sort of in between everybody. Like I didn't hate it as much as I saw some people disliked it, but I also didn't love it. I the people going 10 out of 10. Like, what are you? I mean, this is not a 10 out of 10 match. Come on, come on.
That's one of the greatest matches you've ever seen. I mean,
right.
Watch more wrestling.
Yeah, you got to watch more wrestling if this is a 10 out of 10 for you. That's nothing. That's a good little match. Like I am more than if you think, hey, that was really fun, and they did the three-way thing interestingly because it wasn't just one person sitting outside of the ring and two. They tried to do a bunch of stuff where they're doing submissions at the same time and back and forth and and this high speed style, and it reminds me of the start of high speed style. Okay, you could 10 out of 10. Like, come on, we got to reel that in a little. That's pump the fucking brakes on 10 out of 10. This was not one of the greatest matches of all time. Like, come on.
It's sitting at 8.46, which, I mean, all right. I'm glad people really liked it. I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a good little match for the spot on the card. I was kind of blown away after I watched the show and then started looking at things like Cage Match and people's reviews and people's opinions and seeing people throwing like 4.5 stars at this. And I don't know. I had never seen this Hazuki or
Azumi.
How do I pronounce
Azumi?
Or this Azumi.
AZM in your best Brian Alvarez voice. Yeah.
I don't recall you recommending either of these people to me in the past, so I don't. Maybe I've watched.
No, that's wrong. I recommended an Azumi match to you like 3 weeks ago.
Did I? No, but I didn't watch. I don't think I
know you didn't watch it. I'm saying.
So
didn't I recommend these two people against each other?
Rich, what I'm saying is I've never watched them wrestle.
Okay, all right, I'm just saying.
Because you had never wrecked them before. You wrecked them and I didn't watch that. So this was my first exposure to them.
I actually recommended you Azumi Starlight Kid, for the record. If people are going to say, no, it was Starlight Kid and Azumi, that's what I recommended. Yes, go on, carry.
So I wasn't all that impressed. Like, I didn't come away from this match thinking, man, I got to see more Hazuki. I would be perfectly fine never watching this person wrestle again. I mean, they weren't that. It was good. It was fine. I had it 3.25. I thought it was a nice little match for this spot on the card. It was a 3-way match, and I've seen a million of these 3-way matches that are perfectly fine. I thought Monet's match against Kyrie blew this one the fuck away. I mean, I don't even think they're comparable. I mean, one was a legitimate great match and may have been the best match on the show that it was on and is one of the better women's matches I've seen all year. And this was just a 3-way that you can see on any indie show. I mean, I did not think that this was anything special at all. And this was certainly not a match that's going to make me go, man, I got to get me a Stardom World subscription if this is the kind of action I'm going to get. I don't know. Rich, I don't think I'm ever going to get this. This stuff is never going to land with me, because if people think that this was some kind of great 10 out of 10 match, maybe I just am never going to get it. You know, I don't know. I was genuinely shocked when I saw how much people love this. What was so great about this? I don't understand.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I thought it was fine, but it's always going to have a ceiling for me on a 3-way match. Like, I just would have preferred one-on-one and I'm always going to prefer that. But, I think the way that they did this style was creative in terms of them both being, everybody being in the ring together, kind of an old school way that they used to do the three-way dances or whatever before they, WWE kind of set the standard for this is how the style is going to be and this is what, things are going to happen. And one guy's going to be outside and while these two people fight, then they're going to break up the pin and do that. So, I don't know. I just didn't. It was over, and I was like, all right, yeah, that was fine. Yeah, and I was with you. I was like, I'm interested to see what people say about this. And I went on, and everyone's like, what a masterpiece, unbelievable. And I'm like, well, really? All right, well, okay. I mean, I think Monet has had better matches, way, way, way better. I mean, if this is 10 out of 10, then what the fuck is that Kyrie match? Because that match fucking rocked. Like, so what is that, man? If this is 10 out of 10, like, where are we going with that Kyrie match?
What's Takeover Brooklyn?
Right, that's a 900 out of 10. Then it's just like, yeah,
10 out of 10. I mean, so anyway, I want to talk about the post match because who's this lady that comes out?
Mayu Iwatani is who came out.
Okay, so Mayu Iwatani comes out basically looking like she just rolled out of bed.
she is wearing like a hoodie and stuff.
Okay, so let me talk about this. So
I knew. I was like, Joe ain't gonna like this. You know how the wokes aren't gonna like this one, Joe? Like I saw that and I was like, Joe's not gonna like the hoodie. That's not gonna go good.
No, I mean, I'm not doing a bit here. Like, looking like a star is important and matters. She looked like she rolled out of bed. She's wearing an oversized sweatshirt, like sweatpants. Her hair is like, it looks like she like just woke up. She looked like a college kid who didn't have class that day and binge watched season 3 of Grey's Anatomy and got up at 11 a.m., wanted to watch some McDreamy, so put on the Grey's Anatomy, watched it for 7 hours, then hops in the car in the clothes that she slept in to pick up some McDonald's to bring home to start season 4 of Grey's Anatomy. And she has no energy. She's just dragging ass to the ring, has this boring stare down, doesn't look like a star. I mean, she looked like somebody walked out of the crowd and hopped in the ring to challenge. Like, looking like a star and coming across like a star matters in this business. And I can just tell you, from somebody who couldn't pick Mayu Iwatani out of a lineup and doesn't give a shit about Mayu Iwatani, this did nothing to make me care about Mayu Iwatani. She didn't look like a star. She didn't look like a physical threat. She didn't look like anything special. And this didn't fire me up for this match. She looked like shit. She didn't elicit any excitement once she got into the ring. And I understand. Look, people are fired up for this match, and I know who she is. She's a big star.
Right, you saw her in Ring of Honor. She won. Was on the MSG show. I'm sure you saw her. You saw her live, very close.
I guess so. I don't really remember her, but I'm sure I've seen her wrestle. I know that people say she's great. And listen, maybe the match is going to be phenomenal. I hope it is.
Right.
Okay.
I just want to say there at voiceswrestling.com, Scott Edwards wrote a really, really, really good piece about the history of the two and how they kind of link together and parallels and that sort of stuff. So if you are excited about the match or anticipating the match or trying to figure out if you're, what the match really means, we do have a great article up at voiceswrestling.com about it from Scott Edwards. So,
yeah. So there's people in our chat saying, let me read you some of these. With Mayu, she often literally did just get out of bed, is what one person says. Then someone says, yeah, that sounds like Mayu Iwatani. LOL.
It does not sound like somebody that I really want to watch wrestle.
Right, so listen, is her gimmick is just that she doesn't give a shit? Is that her gimmick? Is her gimmick that she's like sort of a Naito-like figure that's just like her whole deal is that she's nonchalant? Because maybe that's what I'm missing here. But I'm like, she just wasn't very impressive to me is all I'm saying. And okay, so here's what someone else said. Mayu's very much a proponent of the SANADA style, effortlessly lazy look. No. So this is her deal. Or I'm asking you, but maybe you don't even know.
I don't know. I know how she works. I know her wrestling style and I've always enjoyed that. I don't know. She's never come across as lazy to me. I don't know anything about her like out of the ring style or anything like that. I don't know anything about that. So,
all right. So they're
if that's what
telling
people
us in the
say,
chat,
then fine, great.
Yeah, in the chat they're telling us that she's that this is like part of her persona, I guess.
Okay.
So
we are always going to be a podcast. I'm always going to like people that care too much. I like people that care way too much about being great pro wrestlers. That will always be me. So
if this is her persona, I'll cut her a break, because if this is sort of the image she projects and it's intentional, and this is kind of her deal, and it has gotten her over, well then what the fuck, right? Like I can't parachute in and be like, this is never going to work, right? But I'm just saying, as someone who has barely been exposed to this wrestler, I couldn't have come across less impressed with this challenge than I did. It looked like someone who didn't want to be there. But this could be me comically just missing the point if this is who she is and what she is, So I accept that. That could be the case. So moving on.
There we go. All right. So real quickly, we'll go through the rest of this card because I don't think anything else really stood out. You had the opening match was a 6-man tag, kind of booked out of, some relationship they had with a TV network or what. I didn't fully know what was going on here, but it was Great Okan, Minoru Suzuki, and Toru Yano defeating El Desperado, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Yo. So a little bit of like mixed people in the match or whatever. I don't know. Did you have any strong thoughts about this match? It was just kind of for, mostly done for laughs, and Yano being scared with his, teammates and stuff, but I don't know. It was fine.
Oh, the mystery vortex.
Yeah, a little
match?
mystery vortex type deal. It was whatever.
Yeah, it's just a fun way to start the show. It's a different thing that they've kind of done in the past, where this is like runs totally counter the way they do business. But the crowd was into it, and it was an opener. What do you want me to do? You want me to trash it because it wasn't Masawa Kawada? I mean, it was a fun little opener.
Then you have United Empire. It was Aaron Henare, Francesco Akira, and Jeff Cobb defeating the House of Torture, Evil Show, and Yujiro Takahashi, who is Yujiro getting worse by the day? He's really bad. We got to move on. We got to figure out something else.
It's huge. If you keep him out of the G1, I don't give a fuck.
I guess that's fine. Yeah, he's just,
because what's he going to do? He's going to work these 6-mans on the undercard
and lose,
and
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, just don't put him in the G1, and I don't give a fuck.
It just seems like he's getting worse by the day, and it's just like, man. Anyway, just 5 guys: Dookie, Taichi, and Yoshinobu Kanemura defeats LIJ, Bushi, Shingo, and Naito.
Which all makes a ton of sense, by the end of the show. These two on opposite sides, and then we got Dookie challenging Naito, and they will wrestle a singles match on which show is the Dookie?
That is on
April 27th.
Yes, the April 27th show.
April 27th. So that'll be a fun little singles match with Naito and Dookie, and then Naito presumably on May 3rd will come out and challenge Hiromu. SANADA, that is. Someone in the chat had an interesting idea. What if we're all just taking that for granted because it makes too much sense, and it's actually Shingo that comes out to challenge SANADA? Because that would make some sense too, right?
It would, yeah. I think it depends on how quickly you think, because you're saying the Naito thing happens and he's losing this title. Like the second Naito comes out of that curtain, he's losing that title to Naito, right? Like at whatever that next show is, at Dominion or whatever it's going to be, he's losing that title.
It's Naito SANADA.
Yeah.
I would say that Naito would be the betting line favorite, but
so I guess if you want, it could be Shingo, but you would not have Shingo beating SANADA. You'd have Shingo losing to SANADA, correct?
I mean, I don't know. I just, based on the booking patterns of the company, I don't think SANADA is long for the title. I don't know what sense it would make to go right back to go to Shingo when he's doing this King of Pro Wrestling stuff.
That's what I mean. So, maybe he's got to get through some of the other LIJ guys. He starts out at the bottom and then kind of works his way up until, the kingpin there is Naito. Yeah. And so that way you can give him a little bit more of a prolonged reign. Like you said, you could go to King of Pro Wrestling if you want to. You can go into the fall if you really, really, truly want to. But yeah, he's got to finally face the final boss of LIJ, and it's Naito, and he can't do that. He loses to Naito. Because, I think you probably can get a few more months out of this story. And I think people would want to see that, too. I think people would like to see SANADA kind of work his way up through the unit. So yeah, maybe this Shingo.
I would like to see that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think that the thing here is, I think that the Naito Doki match is the tip-off that the next challenger is Naito. That's what I would say to that.
Just a nice, clean singles match or whatever. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, against the guy in SANADA's unit, right? It all just makes too much sense. Like, that's the tip off to me. But I thought that was an interesting proposal by whoever that was. I'm sorry, I missed the name, but whoever it was in the chat
for sure
who pitched that, and worth bringing up. Anyway,
I think we got. Oh, sorry. And then there was the, of course, big story here. Bullet Club, David Finlay, Phantasmo, Kenta, defeating the Girls of Destiny of Hikuleo, Tamatonga, and Master Wato. But more importantly, after the match, the further fracturing of the Bullet Club as El Phantasmo gets turned on by, he starts, David Finley's attacking after the bell. El Phantasmo is like, all right, chill. We don't need to be beating these guys up that much. Like, it's all right. And then, him and Finley get into, a shoving match. They start beating each other up. Then Kenta starts to break it up, but then Kenta kicks El Phantasmo in the nuts and then puts him in to go to sleep. And then finally you get Taiji Ishimori, who comes out and is like, no, come on, stop. And then he too turns on El Phantasmo. So what do you think about this? How do you like this? I mean, this was the crowd as the match was going on was getting way into, El Phantasmo, as we've always said that he would be a mega babyface whenever they do want to turn him. After the match, the crowd was way into him as well, chanting ELP as he's getting beaten down by the Bullet Club. I like this. I think this can go a lot of really fun ways, and I'm more interested in this Bullet Club drama than I've been in any Bullet Club drama in a very, very long time. So yeah, where do you see this all kind of ending up, and how do you flesh this out if you're booking?
This was an incredible angle. This was great. This just worked, and I thought everyone here was fantastic, including Ishimori, who came down. And again, it looked like he was going to take Phantasmo's side, but then he kicked him in the balls. Those guys have been tag team partners. And again, if you're a longtime listener to this show, ELP going babyface and ELP, potentially getting a push out of this should not be a surprise to you. I mean, we've been telling you from day one that this guy was eventually going to be a babyface. And look, we talked a few months ago about how he was basically he's been given the same kind of booking as a lot of guys before him who started off as heel juniors. And then, they were setting him up for a turn, and then they do the turn, and, they move up to heavyweight and then do the turn in whatever order. Right. And now you have a heavyweight babyface. And it was very obvious that they've been setting him up for this for a long time. And as we've said a million times, when they scouted him, when Gato discovered him, he was working as a babyface. He can be, like, New Japan fans don't know this yet, but he can be a very effective babyface. And Gato likes to bring guys in as heels and get them over that way first. And that's what they did. And he was a phenomenal heel, a very different kind of heel than, you typically see in New Japan. And it's funny because he was so hated, and then he eventually his heel routine started to get over with fans. And then it became obvious that, the turn was going to come sooner or later. And here it is. And, they were teasing, who's going to be the Bullet Club leader? Is it going to be Finlay? Is it going to be Phantasmo? They were cutting promos on each other. And then it all came to a head here in a major building on a major show. And I thought the angle came across great. I think ELP is going to be an excellent babyface in this company. I think fans are going to be into him as a babyface. And as you said, they were already on this show. I thought that Kenta and Taiji Ishimori as goons were incredible in the angle. And I thought that David Finlay was great here. And Finlay, as I talked about at the top, and I'm not going to repeat all my same points, I think he's doing so great in this new role. And he's just grabbing it by the throat. And I think he looks better. I think his wrestling is more intense. What I'd like to see out of him now, though, is he has a lot of good matches, but almost never has great ones. Take these matches by the throat and start having some great matches, because he's capable of that. So that's kind of like the last missing ingredient with him. But he's coming across like a star the more he settles into this role. And this was a guy that I was ready to hand wave and say, just get him out of here. He's, but it's working. It's working. And I thought this angle was great. And another reason why this was a really good show, and why some people think it was a great show, because you had all these great matches and you had a killer angle to go along with it. So, Sakura Genesis was a winner.
Yeah, for sure.
And, New Japan, this is not your big brother's New Japan. I'll finish with this. This is not your big brother's New Japan. Okay? People sitting around waiting for, 2014 New Japan again. That's not what this is. That era is over. It's over. I wrote about that era being over before the pandemic.
February 2020,
Okay?
you wrote about it, yeah.
When Naito beat Okada in the Dome, that era was done. And the new arcs and the new stories and the new era began. And the pandemic kind of slowed some of this shit down, and it derailed Ibushi, it derailed Shingo, it derailed Ospreay. But now we're out of the pandemic. We've elevated SANADA. We're getting back on track. Gato's doing the things he's been wanting to do. He does another turn here on this show with the LP. We're in a new era, okay? But New Japan is back. Is it back to 2014? No, because that era is over. And we were very lucky. And we would say it a million times in real time. Enjoy it while it's happening, because this is one of the greatest eras in the history of wrestling. That, whatever you want to call it, the Bushiroad era, the Okada era, the Kadani, well, however you want to term it. But, and wherever you want to start it. I like to say Wrestle Kingdom 2012. Okay? You want to take it back to Wrestle Kingdom 2011 when Tanahashi beat Kojima? Okay. But somewhere in that neighborhood, you want to make it a month later when Okada beats Tanahashi? Okay. We could debate the start point, but it's going to be in that general time frame. And the end point was Naito beating Okada in that Dome. And that is one of the greatest eras of wrestling that anybody listening to this will ever see in their lifetimes. It is. And we were very lucky it lasted as long as it did. Because a lot of times these things are fleeting. Jim Crockett was hot for about fucking 24 months. That's all it was. And people still talk about it today. What was it? Maybe, if you're generous, 85 to 88?
Like true hot, I would say the true hot, if I'm being as generous as possible, it would be 85 to 88. Yeah, but by 89, it's
85 to 88.
Yeah, by 89, no, and 84, probably not. Yeah, 85 to 88, probably.
When Dusty comes in the book in 85 and until about sometime in 88 when they started burning out some of the talents. That's all, and look at how long this was great. It was really something special. And I tried to stress to people, enjoy it while it's happening. And then New Japan for a while, the pandemic got in the way. I'm not going to argue it was great during that time, but I think it's back. But this is a different era. This is a different era with a new cast of characters, and the ones that are holdovers are in different positions now. This era of New Japan isn't going to be about Tetsuya Naito and his story. It isn't necessarily going to be about Okada, and it doesn't mean those guys aren't going to be at the top. Of course they are. But they're going to be in different roles. And we're going to see some different stories emerge, a different era now. But I do believe, and I was ready to say it at Wrestle Kingdom. Rich, you weren't ready. Rich, so I'm going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot. Is New Japan back?
Oh, yeah. No, they're back. They're back.
There it is.
They're back. They're fun again. They're interesting again. The crowds being hot, it helps. I mean, the crowd connection that New Japan has compared to a lot of these other companies, like you, and we watch a lot of these other companies or whatever, but it's just a different animal when these guys, these are superstars. You know what I mean? Some of these guys here are just like the dude, and the crowds come, they fill the buildings up and they just go nuts. And yeah, it's just a different level. Production's on a different level. And yeah, the high end work that some of the guys have are just, they're just way better than some of these other. So yeah, they're back. They're back in a big way, and it's fun. I'm enjoying watching them again. I'm enjoying watching New Japan again, and it felt like it has been a while since I've done that. So very happy to finally be back. But yeah, like you said, it's a little different. It's got a little bit of a different coat of paint. It's not exactly the same stuff, but that's fine, man. You know what I mean? That's that's fine. I can enjoy. I can really enjoy this brand, and I think there's a lot of the fun. I think a lot of people that are elevating are fun, and I think a lot of talent that's coming in here is super interesting. So yeah, I'm liking it, and yeah, they're back. They're back for sure, and excited to see where the rest of the year their year goes. And they're talk about their upcoming shows. They got a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple weeks and months here. This weekend, they're going to America. Both these shows are going to be streaming on voicesofwrestling.com/fight. So if you're going to order on fights, make sure you use voicesofwrestling.com/fight. April 15th, Capital Collision from Washington, D.C. The main event is going to be the Motor City Machine Guns defending the New Japan Strong Openweight titles against Hiroshi Tanahashi and Okada, as well as Aussie Open. So that's a fun little match there. You got Motor City Machine Guns, Tanahashi and Okada, and Aussie Open all in that match. New Japan Strong Openweight title.
What do you think of?
Go ahead.
What do you think of this Okada Tanahashi tag team remember a few years ago when Chaos first kind of they really went babyface, and it wasn't even like a tweener kind of role anymore, and Okada and Tanahashi teamed for a while. But now this is Okada and Tanahashi, where Tanahashi is like at the pin eater stage of his career.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right?
It is. Yeah. And I like the team. I'm interested by it because it's a way for that, to get immediate star power in any type of match, like, because it's those two guys. But it also keeps them out of the main title picture, which I think is a very, very smart thing. We talked about it when they did it at the time, too, that it was a genius way because these guys have just such presence. And if they're going to be on the show, it's just like you're always thinking, oh, man, let's get a big-time match with Okada. Let's get a big-time match with Tanahashi. And this is a really easy way to have them in a big-time match, but also keep them away from the top-tier stuff. And I think, the inclusion of Aussie Open in this match, too, makes it, a potential. But, like, Tanahashi's probably going to get pinned here, right? Like, look at.
I think he's
like, and that's why I said is like to your point, which is mind-boggling because you're like, oh well, Aussie Open's in there, yeah, but they just won the IWGP tag title, so they're not losing.
They're not losing.
I don't think that Tanahashi and Okada are winning the New Japan Strong Openweight tag team titles. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that's happening. So I think and that is what a weird position that is going to be, where Tanahashi is now the pin eater, like you said. But that's where we're at. But what I like about it is you still are injecting star power into that main event. You're still injecting star power into that show, and they can kind of get them out at the same time. And I like it. And it's a fun story too, the way that they played it out with Bishima, where they're like, yeah, we're kind of like trying to learn how to team, but we don't really know what we're doing, and we're not exactly tag team wrestlers, which is an easy way to have them lose matches without it, feeling like it's too out of place for Okada and Tanahashi to lose. It's like, well, they're not a tag team, and they're facing these other well-oiled tag teams. Like, they're facing the Motor City Machine Guns, who've been a team for 20 plus years. They're facing Aussie Open, who've been a team, for years and years and years. So it makes sense that these guys would lose in a tag match with established teams. So I like it. It's interesting for sure. New Japan Strong Openweight title, Kenta versus Eddie Edwards. Man, in another era, can you imagine Kenta versus Eddie Edwards? Unfortunately, we're in 2023, so I can't say I'm super, super excited for Kenta and Eddie Edwards. But I don't know. We'll see.
You know why it's an interesting match, though, is this will be Eddie Edwards' first New Japan, like real New Japan match, not joint shows at WrestleMania weekends or any of this other bullshit. This is Eddie Edwards booked on a New Japan show. And Eddie Edwards was very much a Noah guy for like a decade and a half. He's a former GHC heavyweight champion. I think he may have been the first foreign or first American GHC heavyweight champion, right? Oh, no. Am I forgetting someone in the super early days?
Nah,
I think he was.
I think he was. I remember us talking about it at the time. It was kind of weird. Like, nobody would have thought like he was going to be a trivia question later when you would ask that, and somebody would go, and rack their brain. But no, I'm going through the list right now, and he's it. Yeah, for sure.
And he hasn't wrestled in Noah since 2019, since before the pandemic, and obviously the pandemic changed a lot of things. Noah is not the same company it was when Eddie Edwards was a regular there. It's not, it's been 3 different companies since he was a regular there, since he's been the champion in 2017 or whatever that was. It might have been earlier than that, right? When was he champion? Probably 2017.
2017 for Eddie Edwards. He was August 27, 2017. Defeated Nakajima.
So we're 2 different ownership and front office.
August 2017 to today. Good Lord. And we're all over the place.
2 or 3 different ownership groups. And, so I do think it's significant from that standpoint because Eddie Edwards isn't the guy he used to be. And now he's this weirdo with a Singapore cane who wrestles in fucking pants and all that. But he really was sort of the, American heart and soul of Noah. He was like the Gaijin heart and soul of that company for a long time. And now he's wrestling for a New Japan title on a New Japan show against, ironically enough, for another former Noah
right,
icon.
Kenta. Yeah.
Like Kenta versus Eddie Edwards in another timeline would be headlining an American Noah show.
Right. It'd either be a Ring of Honor show from like 2008 or 2007 or whatever, or like you said, a strange like 2014 Noah show or something like that. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I just think it's a very significant match from that standpoint. And as recently as 2019 or so, I remember being at one of the Impact pay-per-views in Texas working media, and Eddie Edwards was taking media questions, and I remember him as recently as then talking about how Noah is his Japanese home, and Noah will always be his Japanese home, because I think Mike Johnson asked him, "Are you booked for Noah coming? Are you when we're gonna see you back in Noah?" And of course, this was pre-pandemic, and he gave this long answer of how he loves Noah and that's his home, and he never went back. And now he's working a New Japan show.
Also on this show, quickly I'll run these down here. You got LIJ, Hiromu, and Tetsuya Naito versus just 5 guys, SANADA and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. So they're bringing out everybody, man. This is this isn't one of those old classic, New Japan in America things where like half the rosters, this is, you got Tanahashi and Okada, you got Hiromu, Naito, you got SANADA, the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Unfortunately, Kanemaru was probably taking that pinfall there, but yeah, that's fine. It's all right. That's what he's in just 5 guys for. Tomohiro Ishii versus El Desperado. The New Japan World TV title match is Zack Sabre Jr. defending against Tom Lawler. Now, the reason that we were having trouble in our notes figuring this out is because New Japan did the gimmick where Zack Sabre Jr. is going to face Jeff Cobb at Dontaku, but it's not officially a title match yet, because Zack Sabre Jr. hasn't defended this title yet. So you are correct that when Zack Sabre Jr. does defeat Tom Lawler, that he will go on to Dontaku and face Jeff Cobb for the title or defend the title against Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, it's obviously going to be a title match.
Right, but it wasn't officially. The reason it's not in our notes as such is because New Japan is from kayfabe style. They're like, whoa, we can't, can't declare a title match. Can't sign it. Can't go pen to paper on a title match when you still have to defend this title, sir.
Yeah, and the greater point here is, again, Tom Lawler and Jeff Cobb are like 40-year-olds.
Right,
okay?
Tom Lawler is, I think he's 40, if not 39, and Jeff Cobb, I believe, is exactly 40. So, yeah.
Right.
Not even
they just fucking flat out lied about what this title is going to be.
Right.
But I tell you what, they've kept their word on New Japan World. Every Zack Sabre Jr. title defense has been free on that service.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I don't know if people are listening. If you're not New Japan World subscribers and you just want to watch some free wrestling, every one of those television title matches is free, no matter where they take place in the world. They put them up and they're free. So I would assume these would be too. But I guess we're going to find out. Good test case to see if a fight show. No, because he does have a. Forget what match it was, but
yeah, man, what was that? I know what you. Because I was like, well, this one surely is not going to be on here, but it was.
But then it was on there,
right?
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull it up real
fast. See if you can figure out that match while I run down the rest of this card here. But yeah, you can look up, if you just type in New Japan World into YouTube, the first match that comes up is English and Japanese. Full match, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shota Umino right now. So 18 hours ago, uploaded by them.
Oh, you know what it was? The Blake Christian match from ROH.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
And that is on New Japan World for free.
Wow.
That was it. And the Clark Connors Battle in the Valley. That might be the one you're thinking of. And that was a fight show.
Yes, right? That was it. Yeah, that was the one. Because I knew it was a fight show that I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. That's going to be a little weird legality-wise. But no, okay, it's on there. So
because the ROH, those shows, I believe, like Dynamite, air on New Japan World anyway, if you live in Japan, region, But yeah, the Clark Connors one is probably one you're thinking of. So this Lawler match will be on New Japan World at some point for free.
Also on the show, like this booking here, AR Fox against David Finlay. AR Fox and David Finlay. Fred Rosser versus Juice Robinson. And then some tag matches to get us started here. The Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida, Gabe Kidd, Mike Bailey, and Volador Jr. versus Chuck Taylor, Leo Rush, Rocky Romero, Clark Connors, and the DKC. Man, what a lot of guys in that match, man. Volador Jr., Chuck Taylor. I love it. This is great.
Did you see the hair match?
No, I have not yet. I have not watched it yet. No.
Wasn't that good?
No. Damn.
No. They did a 4-way gimmick to set it. Like they did a 4-way reverse elimination. Like if you score a pin, you're out. And then the last 2 guys left have to have the hair match. They did that kind of deal. And it was very obvious it was going to be Rocky and Volador, right? Like,
yeah, right.
So
just do it. Just go right to that match. What are we doing?
Yeah. So the 4-way was anticlimactic and wasn't that good. And then the when it came down to the final 2, I mean, it was okay, but it was nothing special. Pretty deflating for what had been a pretty good feud. Now remember, Fred Rosser Juice Robinson cost him the title against Kenta.
Yes.
So that's why they're that's just not some random match.
No.
And
It's a pretty important match.
And I think Tomohiro Ishii versus Despy can be a really great match. That's one that I've got circled. They're only going to get 12 or 13 minutes, and then West Coast Wrecking Crew versus TMDK in the opener. In this case, it's Bad Dude Tito and Shane Hayes. So that's Capital Collision on Friday or Saturday?
That is going to be the 15th, which I believe is Saturday, indeed. So Saturday for that one.
So it's Saturday and then Sunday in Philly.
Yep, Sunday at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. Not as good of a card, I would say. If you're in DC, you're going to get a little bit of a better card. You got Lio Rush and Tomohiro Ishii and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus United Empire, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and TJP. You have an IWGP US Heavyweight Title #1 Contendership Tournament match, Lance Archer versus Juice Robinson. You are going to get an Orange Cassidy versus Gabriel Kidd AEW International title match, though, on that Collision in Philadelphia. You also get Chase Owens and Kenta versus Hiromu and Tetsuya Naito. Fred Rosser and Rocky Romero versus Sanada and Yoshimura Kanemaru. Team Filthy versus TMDK. Tracy Williams versus Alex Coughlin. Pure Rules. And then Delirious and Kevin Knight versus El Desperado and Volador Jr. So not as good on any level whatsoever. Definitely better the Collision, Capital Collision than Collision in Philadelphia. But
Well, the AEW and ROH involvement is interesting with the AEW International Title match and the Pure Rules match with the ROH guys. It's interesting too that Sanada, the world champion, is working in the middle on both of these shows. Now, I understand that these lineups were before he won the title. I get that. But I also think that they recognize that he isn't any kind of special draw in the United States. And the people that they think are, your Tanahashis of the world are the ones that are working on top here. Now you're doing Lance Archer, Juice Robinson. The other match is Will Ospreay versus Tanahashi, and they're putting that one off until Ospreay can get fully healed. So the obvious speculation is, well, will Ospreay win this tournament? And then they'll do an Omega match either at Forbidden Door or Wembley or All Out or wherever the fuck. I mean, that's what's happening, right? I mean, Ospreay's winning this little tournament.
I think so, yeah. Right now, they have it pegged for May 21st in Long Beach. That's when they're going to do Resurgence, and that is the plan to have, Tanahashi versus Ospreay. So hopefully Ospreay is good to go by now, but we'll see what ends up happening with that.
A month and a half more.
Yeah, it seems to be that'll be okay, but we'll see. And then, obviously someone's going to win that, and then they're going to face Kenny Omega. So, Forbidden Door. It's Will Ospreay versus him at Forbidden Door, right?
You think it'll be Forbidden Door, right?
I think so. I know that you could do it at
Wembley.
Yeah. But Forbidden Door, you're doing a lot of work to help AEW in that sense, whereas Forbidden Door, you're kind of helping each other in a way. I don't know.
Yeah. The thing about it is, AEW's guy won the first one in the Tokyo Dome. Okay. New Japan has to get something back here. So from that standpoint, you wouldn't think, AEW, okay, it's interesting because New Japan has to get a win back, but AEW probably wants that match at some point too. In other words, I don't think they're going to wait again until Wrestle Kingdom to do the match because
no, because you got it last time. No, we're getting it this time.
Yeah.
We're selling pay-per-views and tickets for this one now. You had it the first time, we have it this time.
But at some point the other guy has to win too.
Yeah.
So it's interesting from that standpoint. So it would make sense for any of these shows. I'm not going to complain if it happens.
No, either one will be fine. Either one will be fine.
Or if they even do All Out, which they allegedly they're doing it All Out.
You know what? Actually, I agree, Joe. They should do it at All Out. Those other shows are stupid and dumb. They should do it at All Out in Chicago. I agree. I'm with you. It's the only place that it should be done. Not in Canada. What connection to Canada and the United Kingdom? Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega? There's nothing there. There's no connection with either of those guys. Chicago, though, obviously, those guys just bleed Chicago blue and red and whatever our flag, the colors of our flag.
The crazy part though about this, they have to trade wins or whatever, is I think Will Ospreay is going to be an AEW wrestler next year because his contract's up in January. And I think the time is now for him to sign with AEW because He'll be turning 30 this year. He's obviously has the injuries racking up. He's already changed his style to some degree to account for that. This is usually the time where wrestlers like him say, okay, I'm cashing in.
I got to cash out. Let me get my big payday at least. And then,
Yeah. And the beauty of this for him is, it'll be a bidding war between WWE and AEW. New Japan will have to sit it out because they won't be able to pay him what those two companies can pay him. And if he stays with AEW, he can still work New Japan.
Right, he could just do what Kenny's doing right now, where he pops in whenever he can still win titles and do a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Moxley does the same thing, and it's like, I think that might be enticing to him where he gets the best of both worlds. He clearly loves working in Japan, and he loves the creative freedom of working in companies that aren't WWE. And he can get the bag, as they say on the streets, Rich, if he signs with AEW, while still having the ability to work New Japan. And I would imagine that that's very enticing to him. But if I were Will Ospreay, I'd be sending feelers to WWE right now.
Of course. I mean, that's what you'd be smart to do it.
Get them in the mix and say, hey, look, this is when my contract's up. And they might be eyeballing him already for all we know. And play those two sides and then, get your 7-figure deal out of Tony if that's what you want. And I'm sure Tony would love to have him. I mean, there's a lot of people who have a lot of weird opinions about Will Ospreay that we don't do that here. Okay. If you don't think Tony Khan is frothing at the mouth to get his hands on Will Ospreay, I mean, you're out of your mind.
You're lost. You're absolutely lost.
The guy's been the best wrestler in the world for the better part of the last half decade. And just look how Tony already books the guy and uses him. I mean, it's very clear. You'd be a fool not to want Will Ospreay. So
anytime he comes, he's in his main events. You know what I mean? He's like a featured main eventer every time he walks in.
Not even necessarily that, but here's the other thing too. Like, he's almost always in the best match on the show when he comes to AEW. Like, he's undoubtedly one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I would argue, obviously, that he's been the best wrestler in the world probably for 5 years. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. He's a megastar in Japan, a legitimate headliner there. There's no reason to think that if he was in AEW full time, he wouldn't become a top guy there. So, I would think that my gut, I know nothing. Okay. I don't know a thing. I've never had a conversation with Will Ospreay in my life. And believe me, he don't want to talk to me. What my gut is telling me is he will be an AEW wrestler, AEW contracted wrestler in 2024. I just feel like the timing's right. I don't think it would be wise to sign another 2 or 3 year deal with New Japan and put that off 2 or 3 more years. Number one, you don't know what the landscape is going to look like in 2 or 3 years. The landscape changes like every 3 months with this shit, with Vince and the sale, and it's just so fluid. And we know that the big money is on the table right now. You look what Jay White just did. He had both companies interested in him and took presumably whatever was the best deal that he thought was for him. And,
and gives you the most flexibility. If you're somebody that truly loves this business, like I know Will Ospreay does, it's like you get so much more flexibility with an AEW. Especially if they're going to have those connections to all those different companies and maintain those connections. Like, there's just so much more you can do with an AEW than you can with WWE right now.
That's less restrictive. That's the other thing too. He can still work Rev Pro if he goes to AEW. So forget Japan. I mean, there's that factor too, where he's obviously very much involved both in front of the camera and behind the camera with Rev. And he wouldn't have to give that up either because AEW has a loose relationship with Rev Pro. There's AEW titles have been defended on Rev Pro shows. Rev Pro has a relationship with New Japan. So they're all kind of in the same circle. It just makes too much sense, right? So I feel like now's the time. I don't think it would be a wise business move to commit to New Japan for 2 or 3 more years because you don't know what things are going to look like in 2 or 3 more years. And you can get the money now and you could have your cake and eat it too and still work in all these other places that you want to work. And like you're saying, have a very advantageous schedule. With WWE, you never know. They might just go back to fucking 2 house shows a night again. You don't know what they're going to do. You know, and let alone all the creative freedom and things like that. But anyway, how that relates to this is if Tony feels like Will Ospreay is going to be his wrestler at some point anyway, he might not be overly concerned with who wins what and getting wins back and this or that. And that might make negotiating finishes or where these matches take place a little bit easier.
Right. Because with that assumption, it's like, oh, we're only going to have 2 chances or 3 at most, where it's like, maybe if you're confident that you can put pen to paper with this guy, that, you know, this might be something we could do this series for years. You know, this could be a series. Yeah, we can let Kenny go up 2-0 or whatever, because we're going to have Will, you know, or whatever it may be, you know,
right.
whoever.
Whatever the case may be. Yeah. So it's like, you know, and Kenny's deal, I don't know what's in his head, but it's not an absolute lock that he's going to be with AEW long term. So I think these Kenny and Ospreay matches, they got to happen now. Just do them. You know, Tony Khan left a lot of money matches on the table and then missed them because Cody left. CM Punk imploded. And there were tons of money matches with both of those guys that they never got to because Tony is patient. And sometimes he's too patient and he's too conservative. And now Cody's gone for at least 2 more years. And CM Punk might be gone forever. Who the fuck knows what's happening with that? You know, and it's like, how many money matches did you not do because you were too conservative?
Right.
Don't just assume that these 2 guys are. That goes for New Japan too. They need to just, you know, I don't know what the plan is, but I would do these Omega Ospreay matches, however many there's going to be. You have all these big shows coming up: Forbidden Door, Wembley, All Out, Wrestle Kingdom. After that, do these matches now. Do them while you can. Because you never know. And you may not be able to do them. 2024 is 8 months away. 8 months. We've got some contracts. That's not a super long amount of time. And right now, one of these guys isn't even healthy enough to wrestle. So, yeah, just do these fucking matches. Tony has to empty the barrel and do all of his money matches. He has to do them. These shows are too big. So, he's got to do what he can to get Punk in there, no matter what it takes, to try to get, at least make it okay with his roster that Punk can come back, get Punk in the mix, get whatever you can out of Punk until he implodes again, because he will. And you got to empty the barrel. That's a 90,000 seat building. You know, and Forbidden Door sold out ahead of time again or whatever. They still got to get a great show if you want that to be a 10th pole event every year.
I still got to sell pay-per-views too.
That's right. And then you got, oh, by the way, All Out. Well, you know what? You got to empty the barrel. This has a chance. The next few months for AEW, we have a chance to see a historical run of shows because their pay-per-views are great anyway. And now you're going to see all kinds of phenomenal matchups because they have to keep selling people these pay-per-views and to sell these tickets. I don't know how we got here, but what we were talking about, Collision in Philly, which obviously, you know, that'll be a nice 1,000-person house. Not quite on the level of Wembley Stadium. But,
and as pointed out by a few people in the NoDope chat room, the main event is Lio Rush, Ishii, and Tanahashi versus United Empire of Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and TJP. I mean, you could probably assume that was going to be Will instead of TJP in that spot.
No
so
doubt
that main event seems has a little more juice to it when Will Ospreay's in there as opposed to TJ Perkins. But, you know, it is what it is. But regardless, that is that. So Wrestling Dontaku, a few shows I want to point out, a few little steps on the tour, big matches. Like you mentioned, that April 27th, that is a pretty big show because you have a IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match, Hiromu versus Kanemaru. You also have the tag team titles, the junior tag team titles, TJP and Akira defending against Kushida and Kevin Knight. And then that's the show that also has Tetsuya Naito versus Dookie. They also have a show on the 29th, and that has the King of Pro Wrestling title match, Shingo versus Taichi, as well as the IWGP Tag Team titles, Aussie Open defending against TMDK. So those are the 2 big matches on that. And then finally, Wrestling Dontaku, May 3rd. The main event, of course, is going to be Sanada versus Hiromu for the IWGP World title. Never Openweight title, Tama Tonga defending against David Finlay. Now that seems... David Finlay's winning that match, right? That seems very obvious that you need to have him win that match and win that title, to me.
Yes, it's time. Tamatanga. Yeah. That
enough. Thanks, pal. Thanks for the memories. If he wants to go away forever, that's fine with me too. I'm good. But that David Finlay has to. That story
was all about Carl and his brother and the turn, and that's over with. So it's time to move on.
Yeah, have David Finlay win that one. Never openweight 6-man tag team title, strong style. El Desperado, Minoru Suzuki, and Ren Narita defending the titles against Okada and the always dangerous TBD and TBD. So we'll see what happens there. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jeff Cobb, which again will presumably be for the New Japan World TV title. Kenta versus Hikuleo, and then just a bunch of other random tag matches in the openers. So there you go.
And we're getting the Super Junior lineups on the one of these shows.
Yeah, I forget the exact date they said, but yeah, that's going to start May 12th and run through May 28th. But we are going to have a full lineup of roster of wrestlers, I should say, very very soon. Hopefully in the next.
So I would say look for Dan Maloney, because he joined United Empire on one of the Rev shows a couple weeks ago. So, and obviously, this is a guy you and I have said, it's time for his career to take the next step. And he's getting the Ospreay endorsement, and he's joining Ospreay's group. So, I would think that there's a chance you could get Dan Maloney in that Super Junior lineup, and that would be his introduction to New Japan fans. So, we'll see though. That's my outsider prediction. We'll see if it comes in.
And there you go. So that is the New Japan lineup for the next couple of weeks and months. So exciting stuff coming up from New Japan. So, all right. Do you want to stick in Japan, talk Champion Carnival real quick, and then get to...
Yeah, let's do All Japan, yeah.
All right, let's do All Japan. So there, obviously, the Champion Carnival is going on right now. As you pointed out to me, which I did not even know, that this month, you're telling me, free for the entire month of April for All Japan TV. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. AJPW.TV is doing a free month. So, and it happens to be Carnival month. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense not to do it. So, you jump in for the Carnival, and if you cancel on time, you watch the Carnival for free. So
it's a good deal. I like that.
We have no affiliate deal. We don't, but we're just letting people know that that's, a good deal that they got. This is the best month to get it for free.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So of all the months that they give for free, it's the month where more people are probably apt to pay them for it. But hey, that's good for you. It works for you.
This is probably the month where a lot of people just parachute in and pay for just this month.
I was going to say,
now
probably.
They're giving it to all those people for nothing. It doesn't make any sense. But
it's not great business. But hey, it's not my problem. It's for the All Japan accounting office to figure out, not me. So. A block. We have a couple shows in here. Yuma Aoyagi, top of the block right now with 4 points. He defeated Kento Miyahara and T-Hawk so far. Ryuki Honda also at 4. He defeated Satoshi Kojima and Yoshi Tatsu. So we'll talk about those two guys right off the bat here. Both at 4, both with early wins. What'd you think about Aoyagi getting that win against Miyahara, and then following that up with another win against T-Hawk?
So those are easily the two best matches of the tournament so far. You could see what the tournament structure is. They're doing a ton of matches each night, and the match times are short.
Oh,
they
yes.
Blowing through. They are just blowing through these undercards. I'm talking 90-second matches, 3-minute matches, and then like 6 or 7-minute matches. Nothing's really getting time.
No, yeah, we had a sub 2-minute match with Rei Saito and Takawa Mori, where bell rang. They did a few holds, and then Saito just put him down, pinned him 1, 2, 3. It was just like, okay, well, there you go. Or it was a tap out. I forget how he won that match, but over in a minute and 31 seconds. And then the next match that followed was the other Saito and Cyrus, and that was done in under 3 minutes. So yeah, they are blowing through these undercards. I mean, the longest match on the undercard was the semi-main, which went 14 minutes, and everything else was under 10, and most of them under 9.
Even the main events are like, right around 20, little less. So the shows are a very breezy watch, and you really have to pay attention at the undercard because these matches could end at any second. It's really kind of weird to run a carnival that way, but the two main events, the main event night one was Yuma Aoyagi and Kento Miyahara, and I thought they had a really, really good match, right around 4 stars, and the main event of the next night was Yuma Aoyagi and T-Hawk. I thought that one was a little better. The night one match, I thought, told a clear story of Aoyagi is just better than Miyahara. I mean, he pretty much dominated the match. I mean, this was not And then the match against T-Hawk was different. That was more of a traditional back and forth, one guy's in control, then the next guy, then they do a transition spot and the next guy takes control. And then they had a really killer closing stretch, which I thought made it a slightly better match than the Miyahara match, which was more of a story match, I thought, with the rivalry that they've had going. So I know you saw night one. What'd you think of Aoyagi Miyahara?
I really liked it. Yeah. And Miyahara, I mean, I think he's a guy that when the year ends, I'm probably going to still, I tend to always have that guy like near the top of my like wrestler of the year category because he's just like so consistent. You just know he's always going to be in the main event. He's always going to have, 20 plus minutes to go, or he's always going to be able, you just know he's going to have time to wrestle, and he just delivers every time. And the crowd connection that he has is just better than anybody else. So yeah, I like that. And Aoyagi is really impressing me as of late as well. So I was really impressed by that match. I thought it was solid. Very, very, very clearly the best match on night one because all the other matches were done in about 2 minutes or whatever. So not too bad. But no, that match is definitely one to circle. Go out of your way to watch that. I can't say that I would fully recommend any other matches on night one, but I would, like as you said, I would just scroll the video up to when the Champion Carnival begins and just let it play, because you will get through every other match on the undercard in about an hour or so. I don't even know what the video file was, but it was not a long video file once you got to the Champion Carnival. So maybe just watch them all at that point. And I do want to point out before we go through the rest of the blocks that Gerard points out, host of the Emerald Flow Show, or co-host of the Emerald Flow Show here on the Voice Wrestling Podcast Network, says that the Champion Carnival finals are in May. So they're going to get you. They're going to give you the taste in April. But if you want to watch the finals, you got to pay.
Yeah, I understand that. But again, I think a lot of people only pay for this service when it's carnival time.
Right.
And you're really just giving them one of the 2 months for free. Right. I mean, that's really what you're doing. Even I know the tournament extends into the next month, but I think, this is why. Okay, here's why these streamers do these free months. They just hope that you forget to cancel. That's what it is. They want you to sign up, not think about it, and then get you for at least one more month.
Right. They're hoping that some people will say, "Hey, this is really great, and I want to keep this," but they're hoping the majority of us just go, "Ah, fuck," and then. As many people probably did with Fight Plus. Trust me, Fight Plus, they probably had a nice little month where post WrestleMania weekend where everybody went, fuck, damn it, right. After their 7-day trial was done. So I'm sure they cleaned up with another month's worth of subscriptions with Fight Plus.
Here's what they're hoping. They're hoping that 20% of the people who sign up for free forget to cancel this thing until October. Right? When they keep seeing it on their fucking credit card statement, they're like, fuck, I'm still paying for this fucking thing. They're hoping to get like 4 or 5 months out of 15 or 20% of the people who sign up to watch these carnival matches and then just forget that they have. That's the idea behind this. So, I'm sure these things work to some degree. But yeah, I don't know. It just strikes me as it makes sense from the standpoint of this is when people are going to be interested. So you're going to entice them to get the free month, but it doesn't make sense from the standpoint that a lot of those people probably would have just paid you. So I don't know. Anyway, night two, night one wasn't that good. I mean, there's really nothing worth watching. I mean, Ryuki Honda upset Kojima, but there was some like kind of shenanigans there, which, maybe that wasn't going to work for Kojima, brother. So he had the Suwama Yuma Anzai match was okay. But yeah, there was really nothing else. Takeo Omori, as we opined when he became an injury replacement, is getting squashed every night. And he's probably not going to score any points. And he replaced someone who would have been in the mix. So they had to basically redo the entire B block because Omori isn't going to win any matches here. But I will say this about night two. Somehow, some way, Kento Miyahara managed to get a really good match out of Jun Saito.
I don't believe you.
Watch it. Go watch it.
Okay. I mean, it's him, so I'm not doubting you, but I can't believe it.
Am I going to tell you it's like a notebook match? No. But in the closing stretch was I thinking, holy shit, are they going to get to the notebook here? Yes, I was thinking.
Wow. So you got the pencil, you're getting it ready, you're getting the pen, you open the book. Ready. Yeah, you click. All right. I don't believe it. You probably had it in the other room. You probably weren't even prepared to have it up.
Yeah, but the Saitos, I mean, their other matches were kept very short on the first two nights.
I love
night
them
one,
now.
they both.
I've totally turned the corner on them now because they're dirty. The one's just fat. It's just I love it. They're exactly what they need to be at this point, which is not budget. Not next level superstars. They're just like grimy, dirty ass dudes that would wrestle in 4th tier Japanese promotions at this point. It's perfect.
And Rai Saito started off 2-0 because he squashed Omori on night 1, and then he beat Tsuji Ishikawa, who was 0-2. Tsuji Ishikawa has just been completely downcycled, so he's not going to be a factor. He lost to Saito. The other Saito, Jun Saito, he's 0-2. He lost to Kento Miyahara night 2 in what it was a shockingly good match. But yeah, I thought the main event, I thought Yuma Aoyagi T-Hawk was a little bit better than Yuma Aoyagi Miyahara, but Yuma Aoyagi is now 2-0, and he beat Kento Miyahara and T-Hawk. So from a kayfabe standpoint, he's in really good shape. Yuma Anzai started off 0-2. He lost to Suwama night 1, and then he lost to Manabu Soya, who got off to a 2-0 start on night 2. So those are kind of the storylines. If you wanted to go through block B real fast, I guess.
Yeah. So the B block is Hakoto Omori, and he's at 4. He beat Ishikawa and his father, like you said. Rei Saito, he's at 4 as well. Manabu Soya at 4, so through a tie at 4. Suwama's at 2, defeated Anzai, and then the rest of the guys are at 0. Anzai is 0. Shotaro Ashino is at 0. Tsuji Ishikawa is at 0, and then the elder Omori also at 0.
Yeah, he's and remember, not everybody has wrestled twice either. Like Cyrus was in a tag. Cyrus has looked good on the tour. Like he squashed Jun Saito night 1, and then I thought he looked really good in the tag. And I don't think that in B block, like Shotaro Ashino has only wrestled 1 match, but yeah, I mean, to me, the B block is wide open, and we'll see what they do there. And the A block, Yuma has not only the 2-point lead on Miyahara, but he has the head-to-head.
Yeah, he's got the tiebreaker, which is huge.
But the thing with All Japan is I don't remember if they do it that way or not. I don't know if I don't know if they do. I maybe someone in the chat knows, but I can't remember if it's Noah or All Japan, but one of them doesn't do it that way. If it's just a tie, it's a tie. And I can't remember if that's, I always get this confused because there've been past years where we've broken all this down and we're looking at tiebreakers, and then the tiebreakers ended up not mattering and we wasted like 20 minutes of audio.
That sounds about right.
So I don't know. I think it's All Japan, but I can't really recall. But the point here is Aoyagi is off to a good start with the 2 big wins, and in what looks like, and then the B block is wide open. So it's only 2 shows in, and it's free for the month, and the shows really are a breeze. That's a double-edged sword. Like, if they didn't try to cram so much on each show, you could get longer matches, but then they're more of a slog to get through.
Yeah, I like this. I like this. Get me through the undercard. I don't need you to, makes sense. It's fine. And the way they've done the matches, the guys that needed to get squashed have gotten squashed, and the matches that have been quick or, because the squash ones were like, they were like 2 minutes or whatever, but then the other matches were like 9 to 10 minutes, and that's fine. That's okay. I don't need, some of these guys, especially All Japan, the way that they're at, and especially with the under, the low end of All Japan. I don't need, the Saito, I don't need Saito and Manabu Soya going 15 minutes. Like, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay that match is 8 minutes or whatever. So no, I actually like this style, to be honest. I prefer a quicker show like that. So we'll see.
All right. So we got the confirmation in the chat. There are no tiebreakers in All Japan. See, that's what I thought. So you either win it outright, or if you're tied, you have another match. So they have done the thing where you have a tiebreaker match at the top where it didn't matter who won the first one. So, more than likely someone's just going to win it outright now. But the thing is now, for Aoyagi to finish behind Miyahara, he's going to have to lose to some pretty shitty people.
Right. There's a lot of shitty guys in that other in his block that he's going to have to take falls to. So,
he like Kojima, he could lose to Kojima. That's
sure. Yeah.
He can lose to Ryuki Honda, I guess, but if he lost to Cyrus, Yoshitatsu, or Jun Saito, that's like, You know what I mean?
It's not great. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to have to lose a few here, and Miyahara's going to have to run the table, which won't be a problem because really he should be beating all of these people except Aoyagi. So they'll find a way. They'll both have the same amount of points going into the last night, and we could spoil ourselves and look at their face in, or
I don't even want to do it. Nah.
Yeah, so
take this journey through the Champion Carnival without spoiler free. So
now remember, they're doing Junior Tag Battle of Glory on the same tour, and I could tell you that the 2 Junior Tag Battle of Glory matches on night 2 were pretty good. They were probably the second and third best match on the show, to be honest. So those aren't really like you might not want to skip those if you're watching these shows, because I thought both of those matches, at least on night 2, were pretty good. It was Naoki Tanizaki and Naruki Doi over Oji Shiba and Ryu Inoue, and then it was Dan Tamura and Hikaru Sato against Kaito Ishida and Kotaro Suzuki. I thought that was really good. So those 2 matches were they were probably the second and third best match in the show, depending what you thought of Kento Miyahara and Jun Saito. So I could say at least through night 2, those aren't a skip. They're not a skip. So
there you go.
Anything else on the Carnival?
Nothing. No, I know I've been enjoying what I saw, so I'm gonna definitely check out night 2, and then try to keep up with the tournament as much as I can. Definitely just watch. If you want to skip the undercard, you can easily do that too, and just watch the Carnival matches. And like we said, the way it's been structured is it's not going to take you too long to get through the Carnival. So it's also free. So I mean, if you're interested in seeing what's going on in All Japan, now is a great time to do it, and watch through the Carnival. So see a great chance to see Kento Miyahara, but then you're also seeing young guys like Anzai, who obviously has all the potential in the world, Yume Aoyagi, and some other guys as well, with T-Hawk and Kojima still, hanging around there as well. And Ashino, who I always liked, but I'm now officially I'm not waiting for that guy to ever turn the corner or anything like that. And the younger Omori too, who they're starting to really put some juice behind too. So,
it's on shows where both, if we ever get a show where both Saitos win, you're getting Dokken 4 times. That Dream Warriors 4 times.
Yeah.
So we
right.
almost got it on night 1.
You did. You almost did.
We got it like 3 times in a row. Like the introduction, the win, and then the introduction, but then the second guy lost.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to this here. Finally, hour 3. Got about 10 minutes left. That will be, I think, plenty of time. National Wrestling Alliance 312, Joe. This was streaming live on voicesofwrestling.com/fight. You might be able to ask for your money back since, you couldn't see the last 3 matches on the show. Now, I did not watch it live because it was on a Friday at like 9 p.m. and that's way past my bedtime. Get out of here. I'm not watching that at that time.
Fucking
so
grandpa.
So I went back. Well, that's late. Come on. That's late for Central Time. They want people in Chicago to show up at 9 p.m. for a pay-per-view? What are we doing here?
You sound like Chris Mad Dog Russo complaining about World Series games starting.
He's right. And he's right about was he complaining about March Madness? That starts too late too. What are we doing? Come on.
He did complain about that.
He should.
Yeah, he did complain.
You have kids watching this thing. Kids can't stay up till 11:30 at night to watch this shit. Come on.
9 Central on a Friday.
9 Central on a Friday. Too late. Too late. Way too late.
Unbelievable.
8 Central. 8 Central's. Hell, 7 Central's what you should do. 8 Central's okay if you must, but 9 Central's egregious. What are you doing here? Anyway.
It's Friday night, Rich.
I'm tired. Tired by Friday night. Saturday night's the only night I have anymore where I can stay up and do things. Friday night's worked all week. I'm tired. Anyway.
You make it to midnight on a Saturday.
I have, but I don't love to. Yeah, it doesn't. Not always.
Oh, God. That's your wild and crazy night.
There was a night a couple weeks ago, and man, let me tell you, rough Sunday, and I don't know if I recovered until Tuesday after that night.
Are you the guy who, right after Weekend Update, turns off Saturday Night Live and hits the sack?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. If I make it to Weekend Update, I usually watch Saturday Night Live the day after. So
you're a Sunday morning.
It's great. You can skip through all the commercials a little bit easier. You get through the show pretty quick. That whole show is like 25 minutes long if you skip all the commercials and if you skip the musical performances, the opening monologue, and all the commercials. That show's like 25 minutes long. You can just breeze through it.
Recurring characters, you don't like.
Right? Yeah.
Blow right through it. Yeah, you're right.
So think about it. But anyway, so you couldn't see the 3 matches of the show. Midway through Bully Ray and Tom Latimer, so you were watching live. What, just the feed died or what happened? Because I've watched on replays, those matches apparently are just lost to time.
Yeah, so
we don't know.
For Bully Ray Latimer, the tag team title match, and the women's title match, all 3 matches were completely unwatchable. The feed would just cut in and out and was mostly just out. So I can't even attempt to review any of those matches. I didn't see more than 30. Well, I saw like half of the Bully Ray match, but the others it would just cut in and out. So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, whether they were any good or not. Probably not. Well, Camille is always good, but I don't know. I don't know, La Rosa Negra, but she's had good matches with bad opponents before. So, the point, I didn't go back and seek these matches out.
I tried. I tried. So when we got on the air here, or before we got on the air, I should say, I asked you if you had found if there was any, and I haven't seen anything officially from NWA. I haven't seen, I looked, and I wanted to make sure that I saw as much as I possibly could. I couldn't find it, so I don't know. I checked shady means, I checked, legit means, and nobody seems to know what happened with these matches or when they're going to air or when people can watch them. So I have nothing for you. I don't know.
Well, then we can break down Tyrus Chris Adonis for the last.
We can, because that match unfortunately did make air, and it is being memed right now as one of the worst finishes you will ever see, and it's hard to deny. It's a pretty bad finish. So the match itself was fucking atrocious because it's Tyrus, and he is just the worst. I mean, he is in the pantheon of like worst wrestlers going right now. I mean, there are few people that can reach Tyrus. There are maybe people that will fuck up more moves or not know what they're doing. But when you combine like the lack of effort with the lack of any sort of tenacity to his work or any sort of, and he's the world champion. He's in the main event of every single show, and he's just fucking brutal. God, he's bad. But the finish is what everyone's talking about. And if you haven't seen the GIF yet, Chris Adonis has the master lock in on Tyrus, and they're both on the ground. They're rolling around, and Tyrus is fading. But then Tyrus realizes he's fat, so he just rolls back, and Chris Adonis keeps the master lock on. And they count 1, 2, 3. And Tyrus wins because he's fat.
Yeah, I thought he passed out and his weight fell on top of Adonis, and Adonis was helpless underneath this enormously out of shape man. But apparently Tyrus, now the idea was supposed to be that he did it on purpose and that he was pointing to his temple. I didn't see him pointing to his temple, but I've seen people say that. So whatever the fuck this was, it was a mess and it sucked. And he seems to be getting worse.
He is getting worse, which is, trust me, for people that have watched this a lot, getting worse is quite the accomplishment for this man, because it was bad, and now it is indeed getting worse, and that is, wow,
brutal. They didn't set anything up, like no one came out to challenge him or anything. It was just
1, 2, 3. The crowd goes, and then it goes off the air. Is how it ended. So
yeah, he just gets worse and worse somehow. It's he's the worst major league wrestler there is, right? It doesn't get any worse.
Yeah. If there's a legit, like if people legit vote for like worst wrestler of the year, and it's got to be him. Most overrated. It has to be him. Like it just does. Like nobody has pushed more and provides less than Tyrus does.
Yeah, no, got to be the top contender.
Brutal.
Kerry Morton, Joe Alonzo was the best match I saw on the show.
I guess
it was probably.
I think I have a different one, but it's a very thin line between what's the best match on the show for sure.
I'd go 3 stars on it. It's perfectly acceptable wrestling.
Yeah.
With guys who Joe Alonzo has a little charisma. Kerry Morton's pretty good. Everything else on the show was either a 2-star special or flat out stunk. I mean,
can we talk about Danny Deals, the commentator, the third in the chair commentator here? So
yeah, Velvet Sky had the sick cat.
Yeah, so Velvet Sky had a sick cat, which I would have rather attended to a sick cat than watch NWA through and two. So she made the right choice. So they announced that Danny Deals is going to be the announcer, and Danny Deals is like. I likened him to, in my notes, he is like a dying territory announcer, like in 1990, like whatever territory is still hanging on by a thread in 1990 or whatever, he's the commentator. It's like the straight-laced newscaster guy because that's how all the territories had to have. And then they got Danny Deals or whatever. Like I'll always go back to what at PWF or whatever, the Florida promotion, where it was Gordon Soley and Diamond Dallas Page. But this is before Diamond Dallas Page really knew what he was doing. So he's like, hey, how's it going, Gordon? How you doing, Gordon? Yeah, how's it going on? Like, that's what it is. It's just, ramped up to 10. It's like, we get it. We got it. That was Danny Deals. He had to tell Tim Storm, hey, I got papers on these guys. I got deals. You want deals? I got deals. And Tim Storm just progressively, as the show is going on, has got no time for this fucking 1990 territory guy, Danny Deals with a Z, who's just he was brutal on this show. And Joe Galli's trying his best. I thought he was funny.
I thought he was funny. He had like the old school jokes too, like whenever there was a fat wrestler, you knew right where he was gonna go. Like he was making jokes like in the Battle Royal, I forget which guy it was, one of the bigger guys. And Storm says, you're going to have a hard time getting, whoever over the top rope. And Deals is like, not if you put a pork chop outside the ring. He'll hop right over that top rope.
That's what I'm saying. He's a 1990 territory guy. Yeah. And he's always like, anytime a match ends, he goes, I called that. They're like, you didn't call that. He's like, yeah, I did. It's just, just every trick in the book, every trick for, a heel announcer in the book, he had Danny Deals with a Z had. So I can't believe they downgraded from Velvet Sky, but they found a way. So I'm glad you enjoyed Danny Deals. I guess fun bad. Can I declare him fun bad? Because he wasn't good, but he wasn't.
I like that old school cheap heat humor.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Like if you make pork chop jokes at every fat
I'm pretty sure that was about Thrillbilly. I think that was about Silas Mason. He's like, he's not too hard to get out if you put a pork chop outside the ring.
Yeah, or Wrecking Ball Legursky.
Yeah, or something like that.
One of the bigger guys. Yeah.
He always thought he kept talking about the betting line. Like he was talking like betting is still very illegal. You know what I mean? Like he's doing that gimmick. Right, like he's like, I got a guy. It's like, you don't need a guy. It's like, betting is very, very legal now, man. Like, he's like, Tim, you want to put any money? You want to run it? Like, who's taking action on NWA? So, because I want in.
You're right, though. He's acting like it was some illicit back alley activity, the gambling, when we could all just place any bet we want on our phone.
It's like, Tim, if you got a call, I'll make a call for you. It's like, he can just do it. And Tim's just like, I'm good. No, I'm okay. The whole time, Tim Storm just not.
He was getting agitated in a non-kayfabe way.
Oh,
with the commentary. But I'll take him over Velvet Sky, though. I really will. I mean, he provides nothing. She provides.
The best part about Tim Storm, I want to say, there was one point where Danny Deals was talking about the NWA title, and Tim Storm's like, that's the most prestigious title in this game or whatever. And Danny Deals is like, but you lost it. And Tim Storm goes, well, how many titles did you win? It's just like he was, but not in like Tim Storm the character. Like, he was legitimately like, don't fucking, hey, I was a former NWA champion. You don't dare come to me with that. You know what I mean? Like,
he basically gave him a real life, who'd you ever beat? Basically,
exactly. It was so good. I love it.
All agitated, like for real.
Yeah,
agitated for real.
Like, how many titles did you win?
Just, and you know how hard it is to piss off Tim Storm.
Right, one of the nicest human beings on earth. Yeah, and everybody I've talked to, nobody has ever once had a bad word about Tim Storm ever.
No, nicest guy in the business, and he was legitimately angering this man. Yeah, it was. The rest of the show. I mean, I'm curious to know. I mean, what did you think was the best match if you didn't think it was Kerry Morton, Joe Alonzo?
I like the Kratos versus Yabo the Clown match. It wasn't good, but Kratos just beat the fuck out of him. I guess I enjoyed it.
Explain to me the Yabo the Clown Chicago
No, I can't. He wrestles in Chicago sometimes. I don't know. I can't give you any lore. But Yabo the I've seen Yabo the Clown a few times live. His brother is Rough Crossing, who is another local talent, and they used to do a lot of stuff in the early days of freelance. I don't know if they do anymore. I haven't gotten a lot of freelance shows recently, but I don't know. Yeah, he just kind of shows up sometimes. But the announcers must have thought he was a bigger deal because Joe Galli's like, Yabo the Clown, he's an icon here in Chicago, and I was like, not really. But Kratos just beat the fuck out of him. I will say about Danny Deals with a Z, he was great in this match because at one point Kratos did a clothesline and Yabo the Clown's nose came off, and Danny was like, his nose is off. Oh, he hit him so hard his nose is off. He's not gonna be able to survive that. And then he just put the nose back on. He goes, oh, okay, good. It was just like, it was absurd. That match ruled. It was absurd. So I enjoyed that. But every other match on the show was pretty brutal. EC3 versus Scion. I mean, good fucking God. Ugh. Gross. 9 minutes and 37 seconds. EC3 gets the win. Your new NWA National Heavyweight Champion. Good for him.
Hey, excuse me. He is the overman.
Oh, okay.
Make sure you address.
Well, he ain't over. He's not over. I'll tell you that.
The overman, and he's also practicing cum retention.
Yes, he is. Yes.
What is with that?
That's a very weird thing. That is, yeah. I see it a lot in my my Shoot Jobs Instagram account because a lot of the fitness guys are way into that right now, and I don't know why, but I know you do not follow that method at all.
I do not practice. I mean, I will for the 3 hours the show's happening, but outside of that, I mean, I can't wait to let loose on a load. I mean, what's this guy doing? How can he live like this?
It's for you keep your power, but you also keep your mental and your physical power, but you also keep your. It's a weird. I don't want to get into it. It's a weird.
I absolutely would not keep my mental power. It would drive me nuts.
Well, it's also like this weird like empowering men thing that we're giving it up too easily type of thing.
What?
You got to look into it. I don't even want to begin to describe it. But
what world is this?
Not a world that I want to live in either. Let me be honest. Yeah.
Is this who's that guy that looks like Ricochet?
Andrew Tate? Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Is that kind of shit? Like that?
Sort of. Yeah. It's like, men taking back their control. For so long, we've, let women control us. They control us with their bodies and sex, but we're not going to let them control us with sex anymore. And I'm like, hey, feel free. Feel free to control me with the sex, man. I'd much rather that. You guys, I did cum retention for many years. Trust me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good. I'm more than happy to let loose these days. So. Trust me, it was not empowering at all. Not empowering at all.
No, it's humiliating.
It was humiliating, and I did not like it. So I much prefer the method that I'm doing now, which is the opposite. So, yeah.
Hey now.
Not that. Trust me, it's not that.
Hey, listen, you do you, man. I didn't know how things were over there. It gets crazy over there. Huh?
Get out of here. But
Collinsville, Illinois, or wherever that is.
Collinsville, I'm nowhere near Collinsville, Illinois. What are you talking about? But it's like this weird like beta male versus it's kind of like an incel thing, but you got to do your own research on it. But it'll take you down a wormhole that I don't even think you want to get. I know you won't be swayed by this at all, but if you want to, you read into it. It is very weird and very bizarre. But of course, EC3 would get involved in that. Of course he would.
Remember how you knew absolutely nothing about the Pirates of the Caribbean guy, Johnny Depp.
Yes.
And who was his wife?
Don't
Amber
know.
Heard.
Don't even want to know.
Remember, you knew absolutely nothing. You didn't want to know anything. I know absolutely nothing about this Andrew Tate guy, even though he constantly pops up like on Twitter and stuff like that. And I'm like you, I don't know anything, and I'm trying to go as long as I can without knowing anything. All I know is that everybody hates his guts. That's the only thing I know about him.
He looks like Ricochet. He owns sports cars, and everybody hates him. Is all I know.
Everyone hates his guts. Yeah, like everyone thinks he's a douchebag. I know nothing else. So, but for some reason, I thought he might have something to do with the cum retention, and it looks like I was right.
I think so. I'm not sure if he does, but there's numerous other people that are involved in that. But it's very weird. And then, of course, we want to mention here the NWA National Heavyweight Title #1 contendership, Bob Luce Memorial 26-man battle royal. They just started guys just started coming out. They started naming names, and they came out, and they came out, and they came out, and it was supposed to be 20. And Joe Galli's like, there's more than 20 people that are out here. I don't know how many people are out here. The final number was 26. People were in this prestigious Bob Luce Memorial 26-man battle royal, and Thrillbilly Silas Mason won. And this battle royal lasted 19 minutes. Why was this so long? Get out of the ring. Go. Get out of here. Get eliminated and leave. Who wants a 19-minute battle royal?
Did you notice that every elimination was to the hard camera side?
Yes.
Every single one. Very organic eliminations here in this battle royal, all thrown to the side of the ring where the camera was situated. Wild stuff. I think the Thrillbilly has something.
Oh yeah, he's good.
I mean that. Like, I'm not.
No, I'm with you. I agree. He popped up in AAW pretty recently and got over immediately there. And yeah, he's always gotten over these NWA things. He's a dude. He's a dude for sure. He's good.
Yeah. I love, when Magic Jake Dumas comes out and the assistant, which is Christy Janes.
CJ. They call her CJ for some reason. I don't know why they don't call her Christy Janes.
Yeah, it's just CJ. She's just CJ here, but she is so good. If you notice, she never stops doing like the presenting hands.
Yes.
Like, she's always has the smile and does like the presenting hands to the ring. And she never breaks the gimmick. She is constantly doing the presenting. Like, someone would get thrown out of the battle royal and she'd run over there and do the presenting hands at the person laying on the floor.
Yes.
Right. Or Magic Jake Dumas would be, in the ring doing a move to someone, and she would run over and do the presenting hands and the smile. She owns that fucking gimmick. And I think she does such a phenomenal job. And I think Magic Jake Dumas with CJ are one of the very few acts in this company that I genuinely enjoy watching. When I fast forward through their TV, I stop at Magic Jake Dumas with CJ, along with Silas Mason and Kerry Morton, a few others. The rest of this,
it's junk. Yeah,
it's a rough watch.
It is a rough watch. I did not mention the M95 Maddie and Missa Kate versus Pretty Empowered, Ella Envy and Roxy. That was brutal. NWA World Women's title. The World Women's Television Title Tournament final, where there's not a championship belt present because they try to play it off, and I guess I guess I'll give them credit for this. They said that the winner of the whoever wins gets to have a say in how the title's designed or something.
They get to design the belt.
Yeah. Do you think they just didn't have a title ready or what?
No, and then they brought out one of Billy's old bowling trophies to present to the winner here instead. I was looking so hard to see if there was like a bowler on the top of the trophy or like a softball player or something, But yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I mean,
terrible match, by the way. Kenzie Page defeats Max the Impaler. The whole match is Max is scary and Kenzie's scared, and then a banana peel, and then Kenzie wins, and it's like, okay, cool. I love when my champion got dominated for 8 minutes and is scared of the opponent and sucks. It's great. Good stuff.
Yeah, and then they do right. Paige got power bombed, like they did the Wardlaw gimmick. She got power bombed like 5 or 6 times in a row, and she just had no chance. And then they did shenanigans, and she ended up winning. So, at least the match told some kind of story, which is more I can say than a lot of these NWA matches. Which, then they hire that 7'4" guy, and he's not on the fucking show.
Yeah, Super Beast. Yeah, he's in the Battle Royal, and I didn't even. He was in and he was out. I didn't even remember him. I'm not even sure he was in. No, Super Beast is a different guy. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Super Beast is the guy with the skeleton mask. He looks like the Punisher or something.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, your guy is. I don't even remember his name now because they just don't use him.
Yeah, like he's on the TV, and then they didn't book him for the fucking pay-per-view, which doesn't make any goddamn sense. And then they do the hair versus mask strap match, and again, they don't give us a payoff. Twice in a row, no payoff.
Believe it or not, I did not watch the pre-show, so I can't give any thoughts on that. And then
I want you to watch it and then come talk about it in 2 weeks.
Okay, I will do that. I will make sure. I'll get it on the flight. I'll download it because I have YouTube Premium, so I'll download that and watch it on the flight. But yeah, of course, then Bully Ray Tom Latimer, we didn't see that halfway through the match, or not even halfway through the match, like a minute in. The video feed is bad, and every replay that I found is the same way. No idea about La Rebellion versus Dak Draper and Mims, and then I've actually no idea about Camille and La Rosa Negra. So there you go. And then I wish the feed was gone for Tyrus and Chris Adonis. We talked about that. Brutal. So NWA, there you go. Crockett Cup's up next. NWA Power streaming, as always, for free on YouTube. So yeah, that's the NWA. But again, if we don't do this, nobody else will. Nobody else will.
I don't even get these for free anymore. My subscription finally ended.
No.
So now I'm plunking down.
Well, touch your guy Kyle. See if we can get a some screeners here. See if we can.
We're the only ones covering it.
That's what I'm saying. We someone has to buy these because we talk about it, I'm sure. I mean,
let me tell you something. If anyone on this earth deserves NWA screeners, it is this show.
Yes. Yes. All right. So that is it for this episode of The Flagship. Voicesofwrestling.com for previews, reviews, event coverage. We did not plug it that much here, but Flagship, patreon.com/voicesofwrestling, voicesofwrestling.com/patreon. That is our paywall. That is the bonus audio as well as written content. You are going to get some new stuff from me coming very, very soon, including a written piece that's probably be up by tomorrow. You're also getting Joe's March wrap-up with the best matches of the month for March, as well as Wrestlers of the Year and all that other good stuff. And then you get all of our bonus audio, our 14-plus hours of WrestleMania weekend coverage. You get all the Joe Fember Remembers, all the VOW Retro series that we do. So a lot of audio, a lot of bonus audio up for you at patreon.com/voicesofwrestling, voicesofwrestling.com/patreon, or flagshippatreon.com. $5 and $10 tier for both of those. $5 gets you all the bonus audio, $10 gets you live stuff, all the written stuff, and everything else. So just do 10. Come on. Better deal anyway. Voice Wrestling Podcast Network. Make sure you subscribe, rate us, review us on whatever podcast app you use. We also have individual show feeds for every single show. So if you just listen to The Flagship and you want to check other stuff out, you could subscribe to just those shows, or you can subscribe to the entire Voice Wrestling Podcast Network feed, and that gets you everything that we do here on the VOW Podcast Network. But that is it for us. That is Joe. I am Rich. We'll talk to you next time on The Flagship Podcast.
Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.
Hey kids, do you like wrestling? Well, we like wrestling too. We are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Myself and Chris Novembrino kind of doing a lazy river of wrestling criticism, going through the news and whatever happened in stateside television wrestling. And also, you know what? Sometimes we just like to watch old stuff and talk about that too. Love for you to give us a listen. If you haven't already, we are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
Breathe in, breathe out. Get dressed, head out. Grab some friends, camp out. Get hyped up, vibe out. Take it in, let it all out. At REI Co-op, we're here for all the outs. And we want you to spend more time outside our doors and in them. Try it out, check out, then get out. REI Co-op, all out. Visit rei.com.
Welcome to BreezeLine, where you'll say, "Ta-ta, T-Mobile. Our home internet is just plain better, more reliable and faster because we put internet first. If there's network congestion, we won't slow your internet down like T-Mobile does to help their cell customers. And right now, you can try out a true internet experience with BreezeLine's reliable and fast fiber-powered home internet. Find your perfect speed with prices starting at $19.99 a month for 24 months. Terms and conditions apply. Go to breezeline.com to learn more.